Steve,
Yes, Jay.
when it's possible,
Just start like that.
It's possible the economy is going to go to hell. I don't know. I'm not an economist, but what I'm saying is.
But I hear that from economists.
But you could use the SGU coin as currency.
Oh
you
my
could.
God.
It's an alternate currency. Think about this: Bitcoin.
It's like a Bitcoin.
Bitcoin. There is nothing.
Real.
When you get a Bitcoin,
Buttcoin.
you don't have a Bitcoin. You have a digital asset.
I understand, Jay, that in the apocalypse, this is going to be the currency of choice.
Yeah.
Yes, that is going to be it. It's going to be that and vodka.
It's a
right. You know what I'm saying?
And bottle
digital,
caps.
Yeah.
Physical digital currency.
Guys, what do they call that? What's that thing called with currency? It's not the word triumph.
Fiat.
A fiat.
Fiat.
It's a fiat.
fiat currency.
This is a fiat, guys. An SGU fiat currency. And value, what the economists are saying that the value is going to skyrocket.
Yeah, they
of these
are.
coins. Buy now. But guys, this is exactly.
Don't look it up. Just trust us.
this
Don't
To
look
be
it up.
clear, it's not a currency.
It's not a currency.
This is exactly
But-
what people want you to believe about gold and silver.
Yeah.
Right. And oddly, Bitcoin is at its highest point right now of all time. It's doing very well.
Is it?
Yeah.
You can sell your parents for gold.
Can I sell my Bitcoin now and cash out?
Yeah. Cash out, check in, tune in,
So
drop
you
out.
know what I love about there are good things and bad things about not having a pristine memory.
Yeah.
I don't have a fantastic memory. I have an average memory.
You could just rewrite your history to whatever you want it to
Oh,
be.
absolutely.
Wow.
This is like
Beautiful.
that movie. What was that movie?
Total Recall.
No, the guy's name is Guy.
Oh.
Guy. What's his name? The
Guy
actor
Ritchie?
in the movie.
Guy Ritchie?
Oh,
What?
Memento?
Memento.
Oh,
He basically
Memento.
rewrote his path to gain revenge on someone. No, what I forgot
It's
was
coming, Olivia. Don't
was
worry.
that what I forgot
let
was
Jay
Olivia.
just
You
go.
We're
gotta
doing
relax.
a cold opening.
Just gotta let Jay
It's called a
go.
cold opening, Olivia.
I
It's
forgot.
hot, though, but it's cold.
that when I made my Venmo account,
Yeah.
I bought some Bitcoin.
Did you?
Yeah, because
Proud of you.
I had money coming in. I'm like, let me buy some Bitcoin. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Whatever. It's these little things. And then I go in there and holy shit, I made some legit money. So I'm going to cash out.
Yeah.
Now, it's Wednesday.
Wait.
Yeah.
Huh? No, okay. Do your,
It's Chocolate Wednesday. Steve, bring it in. I felt bad because Olivia and Sharon were talking on the last live stream we did about me not sharing. I read that, Olivia, and I'm still pissed.
all right, wait. Let's do the intro. Welcome, everybody. Today is... What day is it?
Wednesday.
November 13th. We're in a state of depression. Despair.
That's why we're eating
We
chocolate.
need chocolate.
Coming to you live from sunny Connecticut, sort of. Not really. It's kind of cold.
That is very nice.
Today, we're going to be talking about the UAP hearing, which is happening right now, and maybe we'll catch it. I don't know. We have some fun stuff. You saw the title, Make America Contagious Again. Hey, Nauticon 2025. Those tickets are out there, and then we'll do some TikToks.
All right, so Olivia,
Enough of this
who's
shit.
in the chat right now, you guys can see her.
Oh, and give me a thing to say on the email, please. Anyway, go ahead.
So Olivia, I don't know why. I think I was complaining about chocolate last time. I don't know. She decided to buy us more chocolate.
She did say something to the effect that this wasn't meant to, like, last forever. Like,
No, we're gonna eat it now.
no, I mean, like,
your
maybe
choc-
not
What are
preservative-wise,
these?
so we may die.
Chocolate covered orange, and it's awesome.
Oh, orange. I love chocolate.
It's probably one of my favorite of all. Well, this is my favorite.
That's very intense orange.
So Sharon,
That's like orange zest.
Sharon, for you and Olivia, this is me sharing right now. Wait, here you go, Steve.
Thank you. Wait, what is this?
Caramel coffee. Wow, these are freaking good, man.
I don't like coffee.
I'm gonna order for this.
I'll take the orange ones.
All right, what do you guys want us
So
to
my
talk
wife will
about
like
today?
it.
What do you want to hear? Because
we're done.
I don't. I
We've
promise.
given up.
Whoa! I promise, Steve. I promise, Steve,
Giving up.
that
No political rants.
So I wasn't going to talk
That's
about
fresh.
politics. And I got to be honest with you. Unless it's actionable, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to just complain because I've been trying to convince people for the last couple of years. And it really didn't do anything. I don't think I moved the needle hardly at all. I just had a lot of people agreeing with me.
I mean, I don't think, listen, I don't think we should rant and complain, but there are some observations that might be worth making. One observation I've made for the last 10 days or however long it's been, week or so, I've been reading tons of analysis about why Trump beat Harris. They all disagree with each other pretty much. Everyone thinks that they know the one or two reasons why it happened. I think they're all full of shit.
Yeah, me too.
They all basically amount to, you know that thing I was complaining about previously? That's the reason why she lost. Okay, yeah, you were prescient. You're like, you figured it all out. But of course, there's 20 other people saying 20 other different things are the factor. So if they could do it, I could do it too.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to, basically what I think,
I just drooled on myself.
so there's that. The thing is, right now nobody knows. Right? Nobody knows why what happened. I think one thing that's important to note is that this is part of a global phenomenon.
Yeah.
You know, we have our sort of American sort of blinders on. We're in our little American bubble over here. But the right-wing backlash against incumbents is happening worldwide. I don't know if that's supposed to be comforting or not, but there you have it. But I think the actionable, important thing this says about our society is the disconnect
Sorry, misophonia.
between
Oh, yeah.
the disconnect between the way people voted and reality, or I should say, the reasons they give for defending their vote and reality.
Good.
Of course, we don't know if they're lying, if they're just saying that they voted because eggs cost too much, because they didn't want to say, because I hate brown people and want them out of our country, or whatever. But if assuming that what they're saying is at least part of the reason why they voted the way they did, it shows that, and a lot of people have made this observation, this is not unique to me, that basically we do not have a well-educated enough electorate to handle democracy in the modern social media age.
This chocolate is so good.
So you're saying get rid of the Department of Education?
So
Clearly, they're not.
I
doing
mean,
it.
so many people, well, eggs cost too much. So the algorithm is, how do I think the economy is doing right now? And that's on the current administration, good or bad. That is at least enough of an algorithm for enough voters that it moves the needle and often is determinative, right? It's the economy stupid argument about elections. To the extent that was true this election, again, nobody really knows, but to the extent that was a significant factor this election, it's like it's completely disconnected from reality. It's completely disconnected to how the economy works, how the presidency works, what all of the economists pretty much were saying. And people, need to take it upon themselves to educate themselves at least one layer deeper on how things work. At least say, what are the candidates saying they're going to do? And does that make sense? And when confronted with that, most people, when say, well, Trump wants to deport millions of workers, which every economist says will crash our economy. And he also wants to put a tariff across the board, which will also crash, will spike inflation, will cause a trade war with our allies, will disrupt global markets, could also cause a recession. And most people said, well, I don't think he's really going to do those things. Really? That's your answer? You don't think he's going to do the things he says he's going to do, and you're voting for him because you think he's magically going to do something
Steve,
good?
politicians
that
lie
he's
all the
keeping it a
time.
secret?
Steve, I feel
He has some secret good plan to save the economy, and he's not going to do the things he's saying he's going to do.
I feel a
concepts.
lot better
The
right now
concepts.
Because of the
after eating
chocolate.
all that chocolate.
It works for politics and also for the Harry Potter creature.
It
What are they
does.
called again?
The
Dementors. It's good for Dementors and politics.
Dementor. So thank you very much, Olivia. That was freaking awesome.
Discord listeners, I fixed the audio, so you should be good.
Thank you,
Just
Ian.
let me know if
Steve, you are correct. You are
I'm always
correct.
correct,
It's like,
Ian.
all right, but let me zoom back and
That's
and
always
let
nice.
me zoom out a little bit.
Yeah.
Go live now.
You
Whoops.
asking people to just
fucking do
even go one layer deeper is exactly what the vast majority of the country.
But we
didn't
need
do.
to do that. Like, I can complain about the massive failure of mainstream media in the last election cycle, right? But and that's true. I firmly believe that. I was perpetually frustrated. I also think that the Harris campaign made some strategic errors. But the thing is, it shouldn't matter if people just educated themselves minimally on
but
what the hell's going on.
but-
It shouldn't matter.
But what's the operative thing here? Like what? And therefore, we do what? Now, again, I think I was on top of this shit, Steve. I tried. We talked about it on the Skeptics Guide. We talked about it on our live stream. I went berserk on Facebook. And I went berserk in person, trying to educate people.
We wrote articles on science-based medicine.
That's true.
Yeah, but I mean, just the idea of like, what can the average person do? You and I do have an outlet here.
There's
to
nothing
reach
you could do about each individual. People need to be responsible for their own civic duty and education. If someone is determined to be ignorant, there's nothing we can do about it.
Right. We have to, but I do agree with you after the live stream last week. I was a little bit on a Debbie Downer. Whatever. The point was, I decided to pull back for my mental health. Right. I can't be steeped in this shit anymore. Like basically what I thought the worst thing that could happen happened. Right. And I had been in the ring for so long. I need to get out and heal up a little
fine.
bit. That's fine.
Yeah,
right?
I cut way back on my science news
because there's no
last
point.
week.
I mean, I see a news thing. I can't avoid it 100%. Like, for example, I get email alerts all the time from the different news sources that I subscribe to. Right, and I see that Trump picked Kennedy for the CDC. I see that, and I'm like, oh my God! I'm like, have this almost like a rash develops on my back.
We
right?
just have to expect that that's going to happen. I'm trying to unplug myself. I'm thinking maybe between now and the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
I'll have to give myself a mental health break.
Yeah, like I could deal
and then
with
re-engage at that point in time and just. I'm sure I'm just going to hear plenty about what's going on, and I'm still going to be reading some news, but I just can't be as involved as I typically as my baseline. Certainly not the pre-election baseline.
The bottom line is, at some point, those of us who feel up to the challenge need to re-engage.
Yeah.
And we need to continue to push out the correct information and be the voice of reason. And as much as this is a very insulting thing to say, but we say it a lot, but it's an insult that is legitimate. We need to be the adults in the goddamn room.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be the people there that are calm, that are giving out the correct information and helping people try to find what the truth
all of
is.
that, but we also need to think about just systemically what's broken with the information ecosystem in our country.
Yeah.
Because democracy can only function if people have access to information and people avail themselves of a certain amount of information. If there is some shared reality that we are basing our decisions on, we no longer have a shared reality.
The news outlets
Essentially, especially right-wing media has been allowed to control the narrative, to basically turn into a propaganda machine. They, and it is true. Again, there's an asymmetry here. I'm not making this up. If you ask people basic facts about the economy, about the government, about what's happening, about crime, people who get their news primarily from right-wing media, and then primarily from social media, versus mainly from the more centrist mainstream media, they are more wrong about basic facts.
Yeah, because they turned into...
It's not about opinion. It's about what do you think the inflation rate is today?
They
What do you
turned
think
into
the
social
crime
media,
rate
Steve.
is
That's
today?
the problem.
How much oil are you producing? You ask
They went down the
factual
let's make
questions.
money route, and let's not, their journalism has suffered because they want to make money.
I also think, even watching journalists, in mainstream journalists that I respect and that I think make a sincere effort to do a good job, failed. They utterly failed because they don't understand the problem. I think they don't understand what they need to be doing in today's world. And they allowed themselves to basically be distracted by all of the flashy bullshit. And I think partly they did it willingly because that's also what drives clicks. So they convinced themselves that we need to talk about this outrageous thing that Trump said. Let's talk about that, and then we're doing our job, and that also will drive clicks. Not realizing that this is all an irrelevant distraction, really, because as we have been told a million times now, it's all baked in already. Everyone already knows that Trump says ridiculous things like he says. It's already baked in. I don't need to be told for the millionth time what you should be doing is correcting the factually incorrect narrative that the propaganda machines are putting out there. And they didn't do it. And the Harris campaign made a strategic decision also not to do it.
Yeah.
They decided, I'm inferring by what they actually did. If you watch the debate, I watched the debate, you know, between Harris.
Pause
and,
1 second.
Yeah.
Ian, the chat is growing, but we can't see the latest chat. It's not-
sorry.
Oh, we're not
I'll
scrolling down.
fix it.
Oh, yeah, I thought it wasn't. Like, why is this paused? All right, there we go.
Nobody likes what Steve was saying. No,
So everything that you guys just typed for the last 5 minutes, we didn't see. Sorry.
So, but no, seriously. So you watch the debate. I'm like, all right. So Harris won on style. She won on points. She completely controlled and manipulated Trump. All those things. Trump said ridiculous thing. They're eating the dogs. Like was the enigmatic the thing of the debate. But what she didn't do, she didn't correct his misinformation and his bad narrative.
Yep.
That had to have been a deliberate choice. And I get it. I get it. You don't want to, you can't respond to the Gish Gallop by going after each individual point, because then they control the narrative, and there's no way you can handle the Gish Gallop.
Yeah.
But I do think she needed to mix in there. It's like, all right, let me set things straight on the economy. This is what's actually happening. Let me set things straight on our energy infrastructure. She didn't do that. She didn't engage with the misinformation, and I was really frustrated by that, and I thought that was a mistake.
Yeah.
And like everybody, I get to say I was right because she lost, right? Which I was just self-fulfilling kind of prophecy stuff. But my point is, we have to recalibrate. We need to figure out how to deal with an avalanche or tsunami, choose your natural disaster metaphor, of misinformation in the current modern, social media age with the propaganda outlets that exist, to the point that we cannot let one side control the perception of reality.
Well,
it can't happen.
Steve, it really helped Trump that he started campaigning,
Shouldn't matter.
over a year ago.
I hear you. It's one of those things that you're right, but it shouldn't have
But he
mattered.
controlled the narrative. Biden barely started campaigning last spring. I mean, his campaigning did not even hit my radar.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was. Then Harris comes on the scene. Right. Obviously, what Biden and his team needed to do was have him step down 2 years ago and say, I'm not doing it. And then go through a legit process of finding who the next person is. And then have them have a very strong and forward-facing goddamn campaign starting about 16 months ago.
Yeah.
But they don't do that because the Democrats don't learn a fucking thing. They don't.
Well, we'll see.
They don't. They haven't so far.
know.
They can't. They if Biden miraculously had the economy do a soft landing, which he did. I mean, when you read what the economy,
Which was really the Fed. What Biden did was let the Fed do its job.
Yes, but that's part of the
Fed,
job,
I
Steve.
know.
Yeah,
the
part
Fed
of it.
did its job and somehow miraculously engineered a soft landing.
But-
and the Democrats got exactly zero credit for
right
that.
because they didn't talk about it.
Because they were afraid to talk about it, because they were afraid. This is why. And they were in a no-win scenario.
That's
right?
bullshit.
It's not bullshit. The no-win scenario was the macroeconomics were doing objectively great. But every time they said that, they're like, you're denying the real lived experience of people who are suffering. But the reality was most people are not suffering. They think other people are suffering because they're being told that the economy is shit.
Yeah. Well, if I were
It's like,
Biden,
well, I'm doing fine, but I hear everyone's doing terrible.
I would have tattooed
And they
on my
needed to
face
address that.
that
They
the
didn't
economy
address-
is kicking ass. They
The rest of the world is like, what the fuck is America thinking?
Yeah.
Their economy is the envy of the world. Our economy is booming. It's
Yeah.
doing fantastic. And they voted
Yeah, but
against their own successful
and the people
economy?
and the people I were talking to on Facebook would literally go, "Do you know how much bacon is?"
yeah.
It's like, holy shit. Okay, let's rewind now and let me try to give them a freaking
Let me explain to
education
you how
on
the
what's
economy
happening.
works.
But they don't see the
Spending power has increased even above projected pre-pandemic
the
levels.
second you go deeper than the absolute thinnest layer,
That's my point.
they tune out and they accuse you of being someone who reads.
Yeah.
Well,
you're talking about the
explained to
worst
you.
underbelly of Facebook. But I'm just saying, but that's the problem is we cannot have a democracy where most people are unwilling to scratch below the propaganda surface.
I
that they are
don't
being
know if
fed.
anything can. Look,
If
Steve,
otherwise, we are completely
Of course we are.
vulnerable
We are.
to totalitarians.
20 million people
to-
decided not to vote this time.
I know.
Like what, if this election didn't draw people out for both sides, I'm just saying, 20
Well,
million
I'm
people.
glad we weren't going to rant about politics on this live stream.
Yeah, but we're not.
Should we
we're
pivot?
not focusing on Trump. We're focusing on
Let's-
the situation.
No, this is a society. This is
Yeah.
a skeptical issue. This is an information societal
But 20
issue.
million people that voted last time said, you know what? This election doesn't mean shit. Or I don't like either of them. You know how many people I talked to that said to me they don't like either of them? And I do have very close friends who felt that way. And I'm going to tell them what I'm about to tell you, and I haven't had these confrontations yet, but I'm going to tell them this. It was a binary election. And you had one way to go. Not voting for one of those two is like the worst civic decision that you could possibly make, is not voting for one of the two people who were obviously going to win. Because revenge voting for a third party doesn't work. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It's literally throwing away the tiny little impact that you have in an election. And the fact that people said that to me on so many occasions, I don't like either of them. I'm not voting for either of them. I look at them, I'm like,
That's just a dereliction of civic duty.
oh my God! It's like, do you even understand what is happening here? Okay, bottom line is this.
But blame the Democrats for
eat
not
more
being
chocolate.
convincing.
Eat more chocolate, Steve. Let's do a podcast about getting fat on chocolate.
No, we're doing Make America Contagious
I
again.
told my
Let's-
wife last week, I'm like, one option you and I have is just get fat with each other, like deliberately lean into it.
Yeah.
Like hit carbs at 11 p.m. at night and
We're
just
not gonna have
care
healthcare
anymore.
anyway,
We
we might as
decided
well.
not to do it, but it was damn close. And that was basically another binary decision in our lives. So anyway, guys, there are other things to talk about other than how America is about to explode. And one of them is UAP hearing, the UAP
Oh, should we
hearing.
do that?
Which is happening right now live, and here it is.
Oh, well, okay. I was
Come
totally
on,
ready
Ian,
for
what's
that. Anyway,
happening,
screen share button that I totally
Yeah,
have,
Ian
and
is
I
going
don't
to
know
show
what
us
it is.
like about 20 seconds of the UAP hearing just so we could see how crazy it is.
Screen share discussion.
And if you don't know what
Didn't
we're
pop
talking
up
about,
for some reason.
UAP means
share
unidentified
discussion?
aerial phenomenon, which is basically the new word for unidentified flying.
The TikTok
object.
computer is freaking out.
All right,
so-
then we'll continue to talk about it.
just
while
keep
you wait.
talking. Yeah.
So what's happening is that this hearing is entertaining, once again, they're having a hearing that is entertaining the craziest notions about what's going on with UAPs and what are the current state of affairs. They're letting people talk that should never have a microphone put in front of them. And guys, this is just a sample of what's to come because it's only going to get worse. And here it is. It's happening right now. And Ian, at some point, is going to do something.
Yes, I know. The screen share for some reason is not.
That's
showing
all right.
up,
I
but
mean, it's going to
will get it.
basically.
There it is.
Here it is. Okay.
Okay,
Let's see what
so
they're
let's
saying.
see if they're still live. They are still live. This is Sky News, so the audio might be a little weird.
We went by a certain hangar and they said, yeah, that's,
audio's so bad.
A company leases that out. We don't really know what's going on in there. We have no way of knowing what's going on in there. And there was a few of those, in fact, while we were driving around this facility. To what extent do you think that some of the UAP out there comes from off the books or unauthorized experimental aircraft?
I mean, I think probably the vast majority of UAP are drones, experimental aircraft, weather conditions, which is again why I say if we review the data, I think we're going to discover a lot about things we weren't even thinking about. But there is a percentage that isn't. And looking into those anomalies is how discoveries will be made. And relative to science, Congressman, if I can say, when NASA studies black holes, when NASA studies galaxies, we have instruments that are tailored to do so. With UAP, we're using cockpit gun cameras or cell phones. We could never do good science with that. And let me tell you, the NASA budget is under pressure. We need to make sure that the Artemis program is funded fully. We need to beat China to the moon and maintain our presence in low Earth orbit. So NASA would need more money to do this, but I think tailored instruments that would look at UAP in the same way that we have tailored instruments to look at astronomical data is important to gathering valuable and
All right,
uniform
let's pause it
information.
there real quick.
If we were studying black
just mute it.
holes,
Yeah, but what is?
I mean, so all right, so well, a lot of that's fine, right? The question is perfectly valid. I mean, are a lot of these things just, experimental aircraft or things that are earthbound but unusual? Yes, but the guy agreed with that. Most are, but there's this residue that are unexplained, and we've been hearing that argument for roughly 60 years now. The residue argument, as I have called it in the past. And what that means is that, so there's an unstated major premise there that we should be able to explain 100% of reported UAPs to some arbitrary level of certitude or detail, right? And the other thing is that if you investigated that residue of unexplained, not unexplainable, but unexplained things, we will find something new or interesting. But the thing is, it's been done before. So first of all, the unexplained residue are unexplained because of low quality data. They're not unexplained because something truly fantastical is happening. The correlation is pretty tight with there's just really shitty data. That's why we can't definitively say what that blob is or whatever, what that thing is. Mm-hmm. So again, the ambiguity is the phenomenon. And then when there have been efforts to say, all right, we're going to just push really hard and we are going to explore every single one of these unexplained cases as best as we can, what happens is the more you investigate, the more of them you explain as earthly phenomenon, right? They don't get more mysterious. They get less mysterious the more you investigate them. It behaves exactly like any normal phenomenon. Right? Anything in the world, you're going to be able to explain most of the things. There's always going to be a residue of things where there's poor quality data. That's like saying we can't diagnose every disease. Therefore, the people who have the undiagnosed diseases have something magical. It's like, no, they don't have something fucking magical. They just have unusual cases or we don't have the data or whatever. And the more we investigate them, the more we can diagnose them as something physiological or whatever. That's what's happening. Now, he says we should get better cameras or whatever. Fine, great. Let NASA, give NASA money and sure, we'll do that. Just more data is great. More data, in my opinion, will just confirm our position even further. Will it dissuade the true believers? Of course not, because it hasn't for the last 60 years. There have been I've sort of read articles and whatever by individual UFO researchers who did this, who said, I did a really deep dive, and the deeper the dive, the more I found mundane explanations. And eventually, there's just nothing there.
But
there's just nothing
there. This is what I don't get, though, right? So if anybody, if anybody knows what's actually going on with UFOs, right? Wouldn't it be Congress? Doesn't Congress have access to all government information?
Well, so now you're making a separate question. Is the government hiding knowledge from itself?
Right.
Right. That's right. Is there a deep state that's hiding, their knowledge of aliens and UFOs or whatever?
But
so
these hearings mean what? Why can't Congress say
the answer should be no?
Yeah,
right.
Right.
There's oversight for everything. It would have to be illegal. Any legal organization or group within the government has oversight. There was congressional oversight of the CIA, of even the most secret, high, top secret, eyes-only kind of programs. Then there are senators, for example, that get the clearance they need to provide the oversight of even the most secret programs. When you had the Iran-Contra controversy, right, that happened outside of oversight. It was a secret program.
Understood.
And that resulted in an investigation and public trials and whatever.
But the point here is they say, in quotes, that Congress is going to pull back the curtain on UFOs. Okay, that's like saying, this is what I don't get. It's like the evil wizard is saying, I'm going to stop the evil wizard from killing people.
Yeah.
You are the fucking
What
evil
are they
wizard.
saying? Are they saying that...
we have congressmen right now talking about this shit. They should go, guys, there is no secret information. Yeah. We don't have the secret information.
What they're saying is they will declassify information that's currently classified. That's the only thing they could really say. Either that or they're saying we're going to uncover some deep state conspiracy, right? Which, good luck with that. I mean, there is no
the government,
reason to think that there is a deep state conspiracy.
The government covers up new military things and all that to the public, but it's not unavailable information to Congress if they need it, if it's important, right?
Yeah.
Okay, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, Silak in the chat said, I'm not calling you out. It's just a discussion that we're going to have real quick. He said,
by the way, I'm not upset. You've never seen me upset.
No, this is nothing. So
this is just me being a little animated.
So Silak said, NASA should get more money and the U.S. military should get less money, and I want to comment on that because this is a topic of discussion.
In a beautiful world, yes.
And in a perfect Star Trek goddamn society, sure. But look at what happened the last 5 years, guys. I mean, look what Russia did in Ukraine. Look at what's going on in, with Israel and Gaza. Like, we don't live in a world where the United States can afford to have a weak military. We don't.
Well, we're getting off into a
No, but
purely
but
political kind of topic.
It's
now.
important to note. Though,
You could say that that's your opinion, but
Yeah.
but this is a complicated political
it is complicated. But
question of priorities. You could say, I certainly would like to maximize NASA's budget as much as possible. I think we should be giving it 10 times the
Me
budget
too.
that
I
it has
totally
now.
agree. I'm
I
not
think we should be
saying that.
investing more in research,
But we shouldn't
across
be-
the board.
This is not the
in
right
lots of
time
things we
for
should
the
be
U.S. to spend less money on military.
But-
Absolutely not.
But there is at least a evidence-based discussion to be had about how much the U.S. should be spending on the military. I think there are, I don't know, you can't say that as an absolute. There are certainly reasonable to raise the question of, should America be spending 10 times as much on its military as the next 10 countries combined?
Yeah.
That, I don't know if that's don't quote me on that. I'm not saying that's the literal figure. It's something like
it's
that,
not
though, right?
10
It is
times as much, but it's
whatever.
not.
I think it's one of the two, like
One
10
of the
times
two.
as much as the next country and more than the next 10 countries.
I
Whatever.
think it's more than the next 10.
Yeah,
but I
it's
can look
something
it up.
like that. But the point is that's a staggering statistic,
Yeah.
and it certainly is reasonable for citizens to go, is that really have to be the case? I mean, is that our role in the world? And it may be we are the arsenal of democracy, whatever, we are the needed superpower, but we could make that argument.
Right.
I'm not saying that's necessarily wrong.
Couldn't we
but
have a
it's
bridge or
also
two?
perfectly reasonable to say, is this the only way to
Yeah.
go about it? And are we spending that money optimally? Is there waste in the system? Is there could I think it's reasonable to ask, like, how much should NATO be covering? Should we, in terms of, and both administrations have pushed NATO to meet the minimum requirements for their defense, so that they're not leaning too heavily on the U.S. Anyway, it's a complex political discussion. I don't think we can just say absolutely that we have to be spending at
Here's a
current
good
levels.
use for our military budget. I don't know if you saw it. As a Canadian, I'm anxious about how much money you guys put into the military. I think Trump will destroy our alliance and come for our country.
I don't think that's.
You know
gonna
what?
happen.
Blame Canada.
Blame Canada. Blame.
I don't think
Let's
that's
invade
gonna-
Canada.
That's right. We're coming for you. Nah, Snow Mexico. We're coming for you.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's the Trump factor is a difficult thing to wrap your head around. But the bottom line is, if we're just looking at apples to apples here, it's that all of the might of the U.S. Military is largely had been there to keep the peace, not to start wars, right?
That's debatable. But let's move on to the UAP. Let's talk about the U.S. Let's not get too into geopolitical.
Apparently, I'm the only one not afraid to talk about these topics.
It's a complicated.
We just don't wanna go to the-
It's a geopolitical
What the fuck
topic.
isn't complicated?
But that's not our expertise.
Have you ever
Right.
seen a
It's
goddamn
not our
washing
sweet
machine?
spot,
You're
Jay.
right,
Right.
but my washing machine is complicated.
It is, and I'm not going to talk to you about washing machine repair.
Right.
either.
Just saying.
Right.
Just
We don't want to
saying,
get to go to the gulags either. So this is all being recorded
All
for
right,
posterity.
whatever.
I feel
anyway.
way more comfortable talking UFOs.
I just
Yes.
when my kids watch this 20 years from now,
Yeah.
I want them to know that I am firmly saying eat more chocolate.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Jay,
Okay.
for taking a stand finally.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway.
God damn it, Ian.
God damn it. Oh.
Right.
Anyway, back to
Moving
this.
on.
Let's see what
Ben
this-
again?
Aviation
Let's see what
safety
he's
reporting
saying.
system, a confidential, non-punitive
Mr.
reporting
Garcia.
mechanism. In the Safe Airspace for Americans Act, we explicitly allow for civilian reporting, of course, of UAPs. Can you explain why the NASA task force recommended the use of the aviation safety reporting system?
The aviation safety reporting system is an existing system that is trusted, that has taken hundreds of thousands, now millions of cases. And again, recognizing budgetary constraints, this seemed like the perfect way to be able to gain more data. And when it comes to the stigma, sir, it's something that pilots are used to reporting on, that crew is used to
All
reporting
right,
on.
turn this
it's a
off.
great
This is
way
like
to get
watching
data.
shit dry. I can't do
Well,
this
that's what the
anymore.
government is.
I know, but like this
um,
is going to go on for about 5 more
tedious.
hours.
Yeah.
It's like it's all bullshit. You got to need to read a summary at the end. That's the way to do it. The whole point is that this is happening in the United States right now. This isn't 50 years ago. It's today. And this is there are people out there that would mock us for reminding people that the Loch Ness monster and Bigfoot don't exist, right? But the fact is that it keeps coming up. There are TV shows about these things. Like the public needs to constantly be reminded.
Well, we
of
actually
these
had
things.
this discussion internally, in the skeptical
Yeah.
community about what has been called Bigfoot skepticism,
Mm-hmm.
right? So Bigfoot skepticism is the idea that we're spending too much of our time debunking really low-hanging fruit, like Bigfoot, astrology, Loch Ness Monster, all that sort of thing. And we are not addressing the real important issues out there. And so I've engaged in this debate as well. I think there are of sort of two minds of it. It's like, first of all, there's nothing wrong with Bigfoot skepticism. As Jay was saying, these topics, it's not about whether or not Bigfoot exists really. And sometimes I have to explain this. I had to explain this to my colleagues who I hear you hunt ghosts or whatever. It's like, dude, it's not about the fucking ghosts, right? It's not about that. It's about teaching people the difference between science and pseudoscience.
And how to think.
And how to think critically and how to think about these things. And so we meet people where they live. People are interested in this topic, and so we're happy to engage with them on this topic and explain to them why we don't think the evidence is compelling that Bigfoot exists and how science answers these kinds of questions. And to that extent, Bigfoot skepticism is our bread and butter. It's hugely important. But at the same time, I think as a movement, not necessarily every individual, but as a movement, we do need also to address the more complicated issues. And I think that we've moved on. So if you go back to the 1990s, and, we've, of course, lived through this. We were skeptical activists through the 1990s up until today. But also I love going back and looking at my own documents that I was producing at that time.
Yep.
We spent a lot of time talking about the classic skeptical topics. Yeah. But as we, matured and as we engaged and as things evolved, we started to engage way more with things like vaccine denial and global warming denial and, the energy infrastructure, and now trans issues and, homosexuality and things like that. Issues that are complicated, nuanced, important, and we earned our chops, our skills dealing with the easy stuff, and now we apply them to the really complicated stuff. And of course, when you do that, there's more disagreement among skeptics, and it's less clear. You know what I mean? But that's the natural progression there. And so we're doing both. We're still keeping our feet grounded in classic skepticism, but also applying it to anything where there's a scientific literacy or critical thinking or media savvy, whatever angle that we feel we have something to contribute to. I personally think, and this is why sometimes Jay and I butt heads on this.
That's right.
I personally think we need to not cross over a line and start pontificating on matters that are purely political or purely matters of opinion.
I felt like this was a unique situation, though.
I hear you,
I mean?
but
Typically,
I'm just saying this is my guiding light.
Yeah,
it's
you're
am I
absolutely
now
right,
just giving you my personal politics, or am I still talking about science and critical thinking
I
and
agree.
skepticism? That's it.
But I also do think, Steve, that just because politics isn't in our quote-unquote sweet spot, it doesn't mean that we don't have anything valid to say.
But in this context, as science communicators, as skeptics, or in our kitchen table, you and I will debate politics every day with our friends and family and everything. But am I positioned to be pontificating about complicated geopolitical questions?
Well, let me just give you
in the public sphere. I don't think so.
Let me tell you my emotional response to that question is yes. You're a highly educated, erudite human being that understands these things.
Oh, I think I have very, well thought out opinions about it.
Yeah, so
but I'm not an expert. I don't have the background.
I know, but you're better than most. So anyway, that's fine, and I will.
Well, certainly there are a lot of people who are pontificating about it who have no business doing it. That doesn't mean I should do it too.
Wade, this is basically your kitchen table podcast. I mean, we don't.
It is, but we tried a short-lived podcast, which we just basically
Science
didn't do. Science and meatballs, where we literally would have a conversation like this around eating meatballs at the kitchen table.
We should make that a live stream of that.
But we
did it. We have video.
We did it. The thing is, we just stopped because we didn't have time. It wasn't that it wasn't a good idea.
Time will be made.
But
it was a lot of work.
It's also a lot of work. It's expensive.
Because
it's
it was a lot
unhealthy, and people literally cringe when I say the word meatball now.
No, that's all right. All vegan,
we could have. It doesn't have to be
balls.
Actual meatballs every time, but
yeah.
But let me say one thing about the Bigfoot.
That'll be
UFO
just for
thing.
the patrons.
As a quick example, right? I can't talk to my kids about the trans issue in its full-blown context. it's hard enough to tell them the 30,000 foot view of it, but I can go all in on Bigfoot and UFOs and everything because it's not super complicated for anybody. And and when I say kids, yeah, it's my kids, but there are people who are adults that are kind of on the same level that need to be talked to like that. So you give them a simple topic. Let's talk about Bigfoot. What you think that it's possible, and then you could have a fun
earn your bones.
Yeah,
on
it's
that.
an engaging conversation. Yeah. It's fun. There's facts that you can share, and you can help them learn some investigative skills.
Let me give you an example.
Like that.
Let me give you another example. So I was recently in Dubai giving a 9-hour skepticism seminar to a bunch of high-level, highly selected business people. Right? So these are people who are like CEO level or high investment level. Like I heard that I was talking to 38 people that were selected from 1,500 applicants.
Yes.
And to the extent that I was able to talk to them individually, like at lunch and whatever, they're all pretty heavy hitters. So I'm talking to them about like scientific skepticism and all of its manifestations.
Yes.
But they want to know from me, like they
Does
want
Bigfoot exist?
No, that's not what they wanted to know. I mean, yes, that kind of stuff did come up a little bit.
Steve is a neuroscientist. He's been a professional for 30
trans,
years.
right.
He is like on the cutting edge of certain topics. The guy's a fucking brightly burning torch, and they're like, "Does Bigfoot exist, Steve? Come on, tell us."
That didn't come up, but UFOs came up
Yeah,
because
of
of this whole thing, because of the UAPs. But anyway,
but people don't want us to talk about
what
it.
they wanted to know is how should I invest in future technology, right? They wanted to know, that's what they were trying to get out of this whole thing.
How to make money.
So I had to keep reminding them, I'm not a business person. I have no idea. I'm not going to give you investing advice. I'm trying to give you the tools that you could then bring to bear in your profession.
SGU Productions. Invest in this company, guys.
Yes.
SGU Productions is what you need to do. This is a fast-moving company with growth potential like you've never seen.
Yeah, we're all full of growths.
Take me next time. I'll make us a few million, and we'll do real
Hey,
skepticism.
Jay, don't trust me. To whatever extent I could push that angle, I did. But the point is, how can we help you do what you're doing? Well,
How can you help us? It's all money is the.
Help me help you.
There's always the ultimate resource, I think, is what I said.
You know what the thing is, though? If we had the money, we know what to freaking do now.
Yeah, it's
That's
true.
the thing. We know levers to pull now that we could never do without a real infusion of money. But that's the problem is this is not sexy, guys. That what we do is not sexy. This isn't fun. There's no pop music. It's all just
don't have a
pretty
calendar.
intense discussions about like how to think about reality, right? This is not turn people on,
How to think
and
about
it doesn't turn heads.
So,
That's
by the way,
problem.
somebody brought up like what experience Kara would have in Dubai, and people have emailed us too asking about that. There were plenty of women in this seminar, actually, and although I will say I'm not, Dubai is a little bit in a bubble because it's a very wealthy international business city, right? So I don't think it's representative necessarily of, the region.
Yeah.
But I did feel like I was in the 1990s in terms of just the general attitudes, not among necessarily the people in my seminar, but just among.
If we travel there,
But
we are going to surround Kara 24/7.
I think she would be fine.
I know
think she would
I
be
know
fine.
that, but still.
But I will say-
we would be on top of her like nobody's business, making sure that every single thing that we did was not going to compromise anything. Believe me.
I just think Dubai is kind of a little bit of a bubble. But when I was first approached about this, and I was asked like they wanted a bunch of skeptics to come. We were thinking of these skeptics, all white guys, like everyone that was proposed. And I'm like, yeah, they're fine, but here's a few others, and then I suggested several women to them. But so I do think, and ideas of like homosexuality and trans issues came up and everything, and I felt like I was talking to my father in the 1990s.
Yeah, sure.
Which is again, they were actually I think fairly progressive for the region.
Yeah.
But still,
they were.
But still, it was a little bit of a culture shock from where I think we are now. And again, I also think it would be the same as going to any rural part of the U.S. today. You know?
But still, I mean, if we did do that, like like in general, the SGU watches out for itself. We take care of ourselves and each other. We always are watching each other's backs when we travel. You know, we travel a lot together. You know, we know how to do it. We're very cautious. But if we went to a place like Dubai, yeah, we'd be.
But Dubai is actually very safe, and actually, my wife works with somebody whose family lives in Dubai, and they visit there quite frequently. And they said that you could go, like, she felt as a woman, she could walk the streets at 2 a.m. and be perfectly safe, just because it's very locked down.
Yeah.
And
yeah, but we're doing that anyway. We do that
Yeah.
everywhere we go. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
we're
I know.
constantly.
Yeah.
As the producer of these away events that we do, like if all of us were to go, you know, and it's my responsibility to check every box and make sure everything's safe. Yeah, I'm constantly thinking about that. I'm aware that we're all out on the street in Chicago at 10 o'clock eating something that, you know, Ian
we're
suggested.
we were protective
But we
group.
huddle up. We huddle up with
yeah.
each other. And as you know, like a mother, I don't let people stray. If there's 3 of us like 20 feet away, I'm like, come over here, guys. Come over here.
I
Take
do
a
that
look
as
at
well.
the-
I was totally the mother duck. Like when we were in the UK.
Oh yeah, you saved my wife's life for Christ's sake.
Well,
right?
so I was like, everyone, remember they drive on the left here? Like so many Americans die every year because they
crazy.
look left instead of looking right when they cross the street. And it's just an instinct. It's 50 years of
Yeah, you can't help
ingrained behavior. And I'm like, everyone stay together. If you're at the front of the line, don't go unless everyone is ready to go. Like whatever, we had certain protocol. That protocol was broken.
Yep.
Your wife ended up in the middle of a street.
Yep.
I was totally pissed, but I was the sort of the trying to be on top of everybody for that whole. It was very
well, we had more
very,
people than normal. We had a much
cognitively
larger
demanding.
crew, and
it was a larger crew than normal.
When you get beyond like 10 people,
yeah,
corralling people becomes 3 times
no,
as hard.
the threshold is 6.
Is it 6? Is
You get more than 6 people or 5 or whatever, then then it's like a geometric increase in complexity to try to control.
Because people pair
crowds.
off. You know, they
Right.
subgroup all the time.
Although Steve and I did go clubbing when we were
That's
in
true.
Chicago.
You only hit 3 people with those baseball
We-
bats.
We did. No, we went.
We went to walk for drinks and cookies, right?
No,
Oh my
no.
God.
Well, so Ian and I, we got the beef.
Yeah, Al's
sandwich,
beef.
Al's beef sandwich. That was awesome, by the way.
Yeah,
that was the best food we had in Chicago.
Holy
We
shit.
streamed
And
it, by the
I'm
way.
dehydrated.
Yeah.
And I just
Always.
need always. So I'm like, I'm going to go and find a whatever convenience store and buy
7-Eleven, I
some
think it was.
drinks. So Ian came with me. So it ended up being a much longer walk than we had it intended, because it was much farther away than we thought. And it was Saturday night, wasn't it? So it was
Yeah.
like Saturday
Yeah.
night in Chicago during like the Saturday before the Democratic convention.
Yep.
And it was a mob scene. It was a
I think
madhouse.
there was a game. Wasn't there a game at the
Maybe it was
stadium?
it was
We were right
crazy.
by-
Yeah, I think you're right. And then the cookies was an opportunistic thing. We saw
Yeah,
like
we're like, "Ooh."
insomnia cookies on our way back. I'm like, all right, if we show up with cookies, they'll forgive us for making them wait
Yeah.
this whole time. And I was correct, by the way.
But I was freaking out because they were not picking up their phones.
Well, I was streaming with my phone.
Yeah, so
I
I'm
was
like,
kinda-
I
couldn't
can't
pick it
get
up.
in touch with them. I don't know where they are. Last thing I heard, about 30 minutes ago, they went to get a drink across the street.
Yeah.
that was basically accurate.
Yeah, well, we went clubbing, got a contact high a little bit.
And, you know, I also have more responsibility. Like, I am the designated driver. I'm
Yeah.
driving. It's like, I got to get everybody back to the hotel. Everybody's got to go to bed. You know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking of tomorrow, and you guys are like, cookies! Let's drink and
But they're
cookies. It's like,
cookies.
yeah.
Hydration's important, Jay.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
That's true. Anyway, should we move on to some other topics?
Sure,
I
sure.
guess
What
enough of
the
this
hell?
dumb
Fun
UAP
stuff.
hearing.
Let's go to fun stuff.
We could go to fun stuff. I have a couple things that we could do. Some Make America Contagious again if we
Oh,
want.
God.
If you really.
Knacka.
All right, when we do that, I'm bringing out the chocolate again.
Okay. Here we go. Is this playing? No. It's, oh, whoops. Hold on. Sorry. Ah, too many audios playing at once. Let me play. This one is playing. There
That's
we
a
go.
good choice of a song to accompany.
Thank you. Yeah, it drowned my head in a million sorrows. So this is eating your daily dose of yellow 5 before RFK comes and takes it away from you. It's the American perspective. That the whole yellow 5 thing is like a weird canard, right? Isn't that like it's banned in Europe or something like that?
Well,
or red dye 40
I
or
keep
something?
having to say this over and over again. It even
Yeah.
came up today in a commentary in the Washington Post by or it might have been the New York Times, one of those two, their resident physician. This idea that like things are banned in Europe that are not banned in the United States. And I've said this before, I'll say it again until people internalize this. Europe uses a different standard than America does.
Yes, they do.
America uses a risk-based standard Europe uses a hazard-based standard. The difference is hazard is based upon potential, the potential to cause harm. Risk is based upon the actual risk of harm occurring. So again, the best analogy is the shark in the aquarium in the tank. That shark is a deadly hazard.
But not if you're watching it outside.
But
of
if you're
the
not
tank.
in the tank with it, it's not very much of a risk.
But it could scare you though. Still.
It might cause a heart attack.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not a zero risk. You might slip and fall into the tank for some reason.
Well,
I don't know.
They don't give you that kind of access.
Yeah.
Though.
So,
But how the hell does that freaking? What's the material that they're using? It's not glass.
Plexig-
Is it-
probably
Plexiglass?
plexiglass.
How
It's
is-
probably
I
some
can't
kind of temper.
Believe
strong.
that it can hold back
It's
that
thick
much
enough.
water. It's amazing.
It's transparent
Pretty
aluminum.
strong.
It's crazy.
So, so if because they use a different standard, they ban a lot of stuff that we don't ban because they're not risk. There's no risk at the doses that are allowed by whatever the EPA or the FDA or the USDA or whatever.
Yep.
And but they're like, but it potentially could theoretically be a hazard. So we're just going to be on the safe side. They also just have a different culture around food than we do. And so it kind of fits their culture better, to take that approach. Also, by the way, California has its own list of things that they don't allow. California takes a European hazard approach,
Yeah, they do.
not a risk approach.
So, Steve, I have a
But
question
just to
for
know
you.
the difference. It's not because we don't care or we're allow more risk or whatever. So we're using a different approach.
Yeah.
I think our approach is the correct one. It is a way more scientific and rational one. It's about actual risk, not about theoretical hazard.
Social media keeps showing me
Yeah.
like the American, vegetables, fruits and vegetables are inferior to other countries.
Yeah.
Like they don't have the same amount of vitamins and nutritional benefit.
Yeah.
We have all these crazy things that we put in our food. And it's there are times when I've been making bread for the last few years, right?
Yeah.
So I've gotten into bread culture and I've gotten into not using any but the most basic ingredients just because you don't need it. I can make an incredible loaf of bread with 4 ingredients and it's all shit that you understand, right? Now, I don't have.
But you don't have it to have. It doesn't have to have a shelf life. You
No,
don't have to
absolutely-
ship it around
Absolutely
the country.
not. I agree. I totally agree. But do you think though the U.S. food is inferior and suffering because of the shenanigans by these food processors?
So, I mean, that's a vague statement. It's hard to say. First of all, you can get anything in the U.S. I think you can get produce, which is perfectly nutritious, perfectly healthy, perfectly fine, right?
But all I'm saying is I've seen people report that the quality is less, the flavor is less, the nutritional value.
Are they comparing apples to apples?
I'm assuming that
No,
they
they're
are.
not. They're not.
Okay.
They're not comparing
not
apples
even
to apples. And I'll tell you
What
why.
are they comparing? Apples to oranges? Because they don't even
Yes.
taste like each other.
Yes, they're comparing.
That's-
So, and this
Why would
Clearly they
anybody
have
do
color
that?
in it.
If they're
this
not
is-
comparing apples to apples,
this is
what's
an
the whole point?
extension of the organic propaganda.
Yeah, that's why I asked you.
So if you have on the one side an heirloom vegetable that was grown locally, picked ripe, and then
On the
eaten
vine,
immediately, compared to a more of a not an heirloom variety, but a variety that was optimized for shelf life and shelf appeal and profitability at the sacrifice of flavor, that was picked, not ripe, and then transported across the country, and then you compare those two things. Of course, the fresh local heirloom, variety is
Yeah.
going to be more nutritious and more flavorful and all that stuff. But can you feed everybody the local stuff?
Yeah.
It's not, how much land would it take? What would the carbon footprint be, et cetera, et cetera? Actually, it would be bad for the environment. People like the locavore thing is bullshit. If
Yeah.
you look at the numbers, if you crunch the numbers, and it's fine. We go to farmers markets all the time. They were great. I love getting that low. I also have my own
Yeah, I
garden.
do- I do
I
too.
grow my own stuff in the summer when I can. And the fresh tomatoes I grow in my own garden are awesome. But
They're not economical necessarily.
not economical. I lose money on
Right,
it.
yeah,
It's
totally.
not for economics. It's to have fresh produce that I grew, that I
Yeah.
picked and ate like within minutes. That's the whole point. But the thing is, when you need to feed 8 billion people, you also need to have like the core of our calories coming from some kind of efficient system. Now, having said that, I do think that, and this is our friend Kevin Folta is involved with this.
Absolutely.
What we need to do is say, okay, it would be nice if you made those efficient, shippable, long-lasting produce, tomatoes, whatever, have a little bit more of their flavor back, that would be nice.
Right.
Yeah.
And we can do that. We can do that by science, by
Yes.
understanding the genes involved and how they inadvertently got bred out of the commercial
Yeah,
varieties.
you have these beautiful, big, red, beautiful
They
looking
look great.
strawberries.
They
But compared to the strawberries that Kevin sent up to us that were just a
yeah, these are these small, not commercial strawberries, but they were freaking
No, they weren't
delicious.
that small though. They weren't that small.
They were small compared to what you buy in
They
the
were,
store.
but they were $half size.
Or there were some that were
and
smaller.
I probably said this before, but it's worth repeating. I could smell them before I even opened
the
box.
volatiles were amazing.
It was amazing, and that's where most of the flavor comes
If we
from.
could now merge the both of best worlds, that would be great. So science is doing that, and also genetic engineering. Damn it,
Yep.
GMOs. This is the promise of GMOs too. We could put those flavor and nutrition genes back into the commercial varieties, or we could put commercial genes into the heirloom varieties. Take your pick.
Yeah.
We can have more control, so we're not accidentally sacrificing one thing for another.
Yes.
And so that's it. But there's nothing inherently better about just different trade-offs, right? And we have all the same
Yeah, but what
options that they
about-
have in Europe.
But what about
you
all
go
the-
to you go to a giant commercial food store in Europe, you're going to get the same shit we have here.
Yeah, but what about like the types of chemicals and things they're putting in and fillers and and all this shit. You know what I mean? Like I know that cellulose is in grated cheese in the supermarket to help it from clumping up, right?
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
that.
Decaking.
But
Anti-caking.
and cellulose isn't bad for you.
No.
People, it's a tree. So so what?
cellulose.
It doesn't do anything bad. It's not bad for you. But there are things that are in a lot of like highly processed foods, like like treats and shit like that kids love. That it's literally like all just there's no nutrition in that, and they probably are putting
Sugar.
stuff in there that I would question whether it's even healthy to eat.
Well, what do you mean by healthy to eat? Again, anything that's in the food chain has to be safe.
Well, what about hydro? What about like the wrong kinds of fats and all the cheap kinds of fats that they
Well, yeah.
put in?
There are things that you are relatively unhealthy. They're not unsafe, but yes, you shouldn't be eating a lot of fat or a lot of trans fat and et cetera. And those, as the science come out, those kind of things become less popular and they do get weeded out. And we do reconsider. Maybe we should just ban these because, it is unhealthy. Absolutely. But there's nothing that's poison that's in the food chain or the idea that, you shouldn't eat food that's processed. It's like, well, there's nothing magical about being processed that makes it automatically
Yes.
unhealthy.
It's
The
the
only thing
additives.
that-
It's what they add into
It's not.
it.
No, it's not. It's actually more that there's too much salt in it, or there's too much fat in it, or whatever.
That's what I
It's
just
the
said.
it's not that you, by additives have a specific meaning. I'm talking about macronutrients. You're
Okay.
talking about a completely different. Additives refers to things like dyes and preservatives and emoluments and things that.
Well, you got to
prevent
cut me some
clumping.
slack, Steve, because I'm not
I'm just
a doctor.
correcting. I'm just correcting
I'm not a
your technical
neuroscientist. I'm your younger brother, goddammit. And you got to show me some
Trying
love.
to just
okay?
get the technology, the terminology.
Ian, do
down.
you see what I grew up with?
Uh-huh,
When I'm like, I was like 8 years old. Steve's like, you're not using the proper vernacular, Jay. That's like, what are you talking about? I didn't even know what vernacular meant. All right.
You're exaggerating.
So
Yeah.
the bottom line here is you're saying that I can eat as many cookies as I want.
No. Yep.
If you're like,
Hear
if
what
you're,
you wanna
yeah,
hear.
you should definitely be aware of like the salt and fat content or whatever of the food that you're
Definitely,
eating, things
yeah.
like that, or the
Don't go crazy
the
on
simple
those.
sugar content,
But the
and
fat types,
caloric
the fat
content.
types, guys, you got to watch out for certain types of fat. Like, what's the worst fat you could eat that you could find in a supermarket today?
Rancid.
It's the trans fats are really
Trans
bad,
fats,
probably,
and
yeah.
the polyunsaturated
Polys are bad, yeah.
fats. It basically.
No, I knew that.
The short,
it's
quick
so funny.
algorithm is if it's a plant-based fat, it's probably okay. If it's an animal-based fat, you should limit
And
it.
steak
significantly.
is natural, but it's got the wrong kind of fats in it. Like you got to limit your.
So you eat lean meats.
Lean meats.
Don't eat as much meat as the average American.
That's right.
We,
Say
we
it
eat
again.
too much meat.
Don't follow our
I have red meat
prescription.
like once every couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks. I have chicken, more
most
frequently.
of the time, yeah.
And I have a lot of vegetarian dishes, which for us is easy because it's pasta, right?
Yeah.
But
Hey.
What are you talking about?
yeah, vegetarian pasta,
Talking to me
pizza.
about pasta.
Pasta pizza, yeah,
You know, it's all vegetarian.
You know what my weakness is, though? Holy shit. The kids want pizza, right?
Yeah.
And I tell Courtney, my wife, I'm like, please don't get pizza tonight. Please, let's not do that because if you get it,
I'm gonna eat it.
I will lie to myself and say I'll eat one and I'll eat 6.
Yeah.
And I do.
I'm not full.
No, but that's the thing that's so screwed up about it. When you load shit up with fat and salt, it becomes so like I can't control myself around certain foods. I have more control with meatballs than I do with pizza. Pizza is like
Pizza's hard.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at a couple
What I
other
do,
things.
see, I do when I
Okay.
order pizza.
What do you do? You
is
order
I-
the kind you don't like?
No, I order a big salad and I
Oh.
eat that first and fill up on the salad, so I
yeah.
can't eat as much.
I can't
pizza.
trick my stomach like that. My stomach knows.
It
my-
knows.
Yeah, it knows.
You liar.
The stomach
It just
knows.
closes
You have a
up.
separate stomach for pizza calories from
That's
My
right.
salad
stomach's
calories.
like,
right,
what
like
is
a
this
cow.
bullshit? As
I
if-
love
Oh,
salad,
God.
so
As
that's
if,
like
yeah.
I always try to fill up.
Yeah,
on
I do
that.
too.
All right, two funny things, and then we'll move on to maha. Maha. Okay, here we go.
Mochal. Okay, what do you got?
Here we go.
If
I love these
Oh
guys.
God,
They're
people
so
from
funny.
the US
I love this.
smile, where are you going with this? Then does that mean that people in Europe skilometer?
Oh my god.
No, but it's a serious
No,
question.
it's not a serious question.
Do they
Keep
what?
doing
I
this.
need to
Kilometer.
Keep doing this.
What? Smile. Skilometer.
Mile.
I don't get it.
Mile,
S
the
mile.
word mile.
S
No, no, now
kilometer.
I get it.
Kilometer. No,
It's just
but
big
Ian,
kilometer.
Ian, how
And
could you
every time-
play these guys and not play the best one?
I know. I know.
Please play it. It's
I
just-
played the best one
It's
before.
humor. It's humor. Play
Here?
it up.
I have another one. Yes,
No,
we've played it before. Hold on. Let me
That
get the
one's
other
so
one.
good.
Here's another one,
Steve,
and then
wait,
we'll get
Steve.
the other. This is a different
When
one.
I snap my fingers, you will no longer be gay.
Right.
But I'm not gay.
Of course you're not. That's right.
I know, I
the way
saw
the
it.
guy does
I
it,
saw
though,
it.
it's
It
so
was
brilliant.
perfect,
It was
though.
brilliant.
You did it. Here, this is
You will
another one.
forget that you were ever gay.
Yeah. It's like, what? I
But
was
I'm
never
not
gay.
But I'm not gay. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, these guys are funny. Wait, here's this one.
If you are the first person in the world to break 2 world records, then wouldn't that mean that you would have
Broke
a
3.
world record and be the first person to break 3 world records?
Wait, hold on. Because
And then wouldn't that mean that you'd have a 4th world record and then be the first person to get 5 world records? And then wouldn't that mean if
I love when they cut it off. They cut it off.
The
It's so
editing
funny.
helps so much.
I
Oh, yeah,
know.
with humor, the editing is everything.
It's so
funny.
good.
The
That's a good
fact that
shtick.
they take that shtick and continue to make it funny and stupid
I
like that,
know.
it's brilliant.
These guys are great. I love these guys.
Skilometer.
Skilometer
You
is so
gotta be
funny.
shitting me. Nothing will beat the gay one, though. That one is
Yeah,
so
that
awesome.
one is just.
Oh, God. I saw that and I sent it to Ian, and I'm like, what the hell did I just
know.
watch?
That
This is
one
awesome.
has probably hundreds of millions of views at this point. Anyway, let's move on to Maha, or Make America Contagious Again, which
Oh,
is
God.
Maca.
Okay, this is where the
Maca.
chocolate has to
Maca,
come back.
but
Maca.
also RFK is the Maha
What do we got here?
guy. So eat some chocolate. Yeah, I don't know. Just
But I will forever now call that Maca.
Maca. All right, let's see what this guy is
Sinatra.
talking about. Also, I don't know if there was another video of him talking about ultra processed foods, which is
Yeah.
another interesting term, which has
damn,
no
it's good.
meaning.
Which has no no scientific meaning.
Right, scientific
or,
meaning.
or objective meaning. It's-
Yeah, so let's watch what he says here.
It's so weird to me because the Democrats have become subsumed in this carbon orthodoxy, and you and I have talked about this. What that's done is it's forced them to do something that you should never do if you're an environmentalist, which is to commoditize and quantify everything. So everything is measured by its carbon footprint, how many tons of carbon it produces. And the reason that we protect the environment is just the opposite of that. The reason that we protect the environment is because there's a spiritual connection. There's there's a love that we have. It's not about quantifying stuff. That's what the devil
fuck?
does. He
I mean, shit, this guy's going to be in charge of the CD fucking C, and he's saying that shit? Oh, God, just why the fuck did this happen? All right? Why the fuck did it happen?
I mean,
Seriously.
it is
How
really,
can you hear
really
that guy talk and
stupid.
be like, I'm going to put him in charge of the CDC? I mean, who's more stupid? God damn it.
So it's obviously a false dichotomy,
Yeah,
first
let's
of
go
all.
into
fucked
the
up.
thing.
It's so fucked up.
Let's explain, though, why it's fucked up.
Eat the
Okay.
It's a
chocolate.
false dichotomy. It's like we're not protecting the environment because of scientific reasons we can quantify. We're protecting it because it's spiritual. So, first of all, you keep your spirituality to yourself, dude. You
What
know,
an asshole.
and I don't mind if people feel that there's some vaguely spiritual connection to nature. If I ever feel anything spiritual in this sort of vague sense, it's with nature.
That stupid ass. He's like talking to Tucker fucking Carlson,
That's the other thing.
who's the other biggest piece of shit on the planet.
Yeah.
It's like, let's start a club. Let's be the asshole club. Let's be the worst people we could possibly be and wrap ourselves as if we're the fucking right guys. It's like, holy shit. These two fucking people are actually evil. They're evil. That's the definition of fucking evil. You are driving people down an avenue that will kill them. He's gonna kill people. That motherfucker is gonna kill people, Steve.
Yep. People will.
And we're just
there'll be a
letting it
body
happen.
count.
We're just sitting back on. You know what? It's people voted for it, so let's let people be killed by ignorance again on a mass fucking scale. What does that remind me of? How about fucking COVID when 100,000 Americans died because that ass a fuckload of people died because that asshole didn't like masks and fucking took Fauci as the goddamn enemy when that guy fucking is a goddamn miracle worker. What the motherfuck is going on? Seriously. Okay, let's put that guy in charge of the fucking CDC. Great fucking idea.
It's a disaster.
It is. It's an unmitigated fucking disaster. And
Now-
we're all going to watch it in slow motion.
Yep.
They're going to take this away. They're going to change
That's
this.
what's- get used to it.
They're going to let this fucking be okay for people to eat. They're going to fucking say, take ivermectin instead of the fucking vaccines. They are going to disassemble healthcare in the United States. And we're you
Well,
know,
all right, so
look, I get it. You want to take, I'm 100% with you, Steve. I just
Yeah.
have to fucking blow this hot air because I fucking want to scream. We are letting the fucking children drive the bus. That's what the fuck is happening. And all those motherfuckers out there that voted for fucking Trump this is what you get. He's not even the fucking president yet. And this is what you fucking get. Well, you know what? Choke on it, asshole, because this guy's gonna fuck your family just like he's gonna fuck mine. You pricks. You motherfucking ignorant pricks.
Okay, all right.
Jay,
Eat
come
some
on.
chocolate. and
I'm
then-
not even. I am getting warmed up. I'm not even where I really am.
I know, but eat some
Eat some
chocolate.
chocolate.
We'll be all right. We won't, but we'll be.
And you know, and I don't
Jay,
even
we
need to say it.
don't
I don't
blame
even
the
need to
victims of
fucking
gun
say
owners.
it because they
Yes.
know what the fuck I think. Yeah,
know.
you voted for fucking Trump.
Blame the people who are doing it,
It's like
not the
I
voters.
just
being ignorant.
fucking can't believe that they saw that guy talk and they listened to Trump talk and they're like, I'm gonna vote for that guy because fucking eggs are too expensive.
I know.
Good fucking job, assholes.
Okay, all right.
There you go.
All right.
They
All
finally
right.
got me to do it. I've held it in until right now, and I finally fucking. That fucker is going to be in charge of the CDC. Not a doctor, not a fucking career fucking, oh my God. Holy shit, Steve. You know how many people are going to die? We are literally, we should start a death count. It's going to be unfucking real what's going to happen here. Oh my God. Put me in a fucking room with that asshole. No. Give me 5 minutes with that
In Minecraft.
Minecraft. There's not enough chocolate here to help me anymore.
It's in Minecraft.
All right.
All right, I'm done.
All right.
You done?
All right.
You good?
Yeah.
You got it out of your
But
system.
do you agree with what I said?
That's a valid emotional reaction.
Thank you.
It's not going
Okay.
to really help us at this point.
No,
in
but
time.
we need to be allowed to blow
The
it
one
like
thing
that.
I disagree with is, we do have to be careful not to, to blame the people who
Steve,
are
they-
arguably, again, I'm not
They
saying,
know who we
TikTok.
voted
I am
for.
not absolving anybody of their personal responsibility as members of a democratic society, but this is a systemic problem.
We
And
should
I
do a
think it's
rage
better
room. That's
to
a good
focus on the systemic problem rather than just blame individuals who are victimized by the systemic problem. It's like blaming the victims of con artists.
It doesn't
You want to
sound like
say, how could you
skepticism.
be so stupid?
I may have been yelling my skepticism, but everything I said was from a skeptical position. Like, just because I had an emotional reaction, I have lots of emotional reactions. I don't know. I'm human. It's crazy. Something came over me. I'm fucking human. But the bottom line
It's weird to
is,
feel things.
the bottom line is that this is literally the worst thing that has ever fucking happened to, I believe, to the world. But when it comes to the skeptical movement, what just took place in the United States, like literally is going to set us back 20 or 30 years. This is a horrible event. And if we don't have reactions like this, and we don't put people in their places and then show them the places that they're freaking made bad decisions, if we're not there and we just let this shit happen, and if we don't have a layer of sanity there that's going to be telling people what's going on, then we truly are lost. Like, I would love to see more people have these emotional reactions. We need to express this because it's important.
But I just want to, strategically speaking, trolls want you to have an emotional reaction.
So what?
I'm just saying, because it's strategic. Because when you do, then you look like the fanatic.
Not when we're talking
And-
to people who are like-minded.
Well, you don't know that,
Well,
first of all.
most of all, but
You don't know that.
Steve, I get
And
that.
in any way, I'm just hey, you had your reaction, I'm having my reaction.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that your emotional response is not valid.
Did you scream at any point in the last week?
No, I have
didn't?
not.
Okay.
No.
It feels actually pretty good because
Does
you do get like a.
As long as you feel good.
No, but
then
you
I'm
get
happy
you
for
get it out. It's like these emotions need to come out. Like you bottle them up. Like we do need a scream room. So we said Jay needs a scream room. Yeah, we do. And actually, this is it. This right here is my scream room. Like I've got to. We have got to
the
allow
thing is,
ourselves to feel what we're feeling.
Yeah, it's good that you expressed yourself, the raw emotion of like, how could people have fucking done this? I get it. I had that emotional reaction as well, but at the same time, we have to think. Just like the thing is, I've been through this so many times. How could people buy homeopathy?
Yeah.
How could people actually believe in Bigfoot or whatever? How can people think the world is flat? Shay, we live in a world where people think the world is fucking flat.
I know.
Think about it, wrap your head around that.
I know.
Wrap your head around
but-
that.
but-
and those people vote.
This is on a scale that we've never
And those
seen
people,
before.
I know that.
Holy shit.
But this again, there's a lot of moving parts here. There's global trends happening. There's social media. There is this unique psychology of the strong
Steve,
man, bro,
babies
dude, Trump,
are gonna die
whatever.
because of that
and the
guy.
consequences are going to be bad.
Fucking A.
Well, what we need to do is figure out how do we keep this from happening again? How do we learn the lessons of this happening?
Of course.
And how do we mitigate the damage in the meantime? Fortunately for healthcare, it's regulated mainly at the state level in the U.S., and so the individual states are going to have to do what they can, which is going to exacerbate the red-blue divide in this country. But whatever, it is what it is. But David Gorski called RFK Jr. an extinction-level event for federal science-based health policy.
Exactly.
And it is.
Exactly.
It absolutely is.
What a way to put it. That's a
And we
brilliant
will
way to
be
put it.
there. We will be there the whole step of the way, pointing it out, educating people calmly, professionally. But this is the dilemma, and this is again, there are some people who argue, I think convincingly, this is partly why we lost so badly in this election, is because the reaction on the people who are not trapped inside a Fox News right-wing information bubble are like, don't we just have to point out how horrible a human being Trump is and how unqualified
They don't
he is?
give a shit, Steve.
How dangerous they do care. They're just misinformed.
No, they
But
actually hear what he's saying.
Some
They're-
people do.
Some
Some
percentage.
people
They're
do.
giving
Not
him
all
the
of them.
ultimate pass.
Not all of them.
Not all of
But
them.
Not all
anyway,
of
but
them.
the people who voted for Trump, like you either have your
Not
head.
every person who voted for Trump feels that way.
Fine, but a lot of them had their either they're willfully
They were-
ignorant,
Jay-
or they had their head in the sand.
Jay, you say that, but we lived through the process of people that we know personally being slowly, inexorably radicalized by Fox News. We saw it happen.
Yeah, you're right.
In slow motion, but in real time. It happened. People that were just normal, regular people of above average intelligence who were fairly well informed over the years become these raving fucking lunatics.
Yeah.
We saw it happen. And obviously, if it's happening to this many people, it's hard to blame every individual person for something.
God, that's an
that
interesting point.
That
That's an
appears to
interesting
be
point,
this
but-
sort of global
But
phenomenon.
let me spin that idea just a little bit
Yeah.
though, okay? Because these radicalized people that are out there
Yeah.
are, some of them do some horrific
I'm not
shit.
absolving them of
I
responsibility.
know you're not, but okay, good. Because my point is that no matter what destination you find yourself
Yeah.
at, they need to be held responsible. We can't just blame this on the Democrats for mishandling. I could bitch about what they did for hours
I
about
know.
how they mishandled shit. We can't just blame
But
Trump
again, they
for
had
being a
to- they
piece
had
of
to-
shit. We can't blame Kennedy for being the most ignorant goddamn person in the government as of today. But we can blame the people who literally don't know what the fuck is going on. All the people I talk to don't know how the U.S. government works.
Yeah.
They have no fucking clue. Can't talk to them about the simplest goddamn thing about how the government functions.
That's on them, absolutely.
Exactly.
But let me tell you, for example, it's complicated, and we
Of
deal
course
with
it
this all
is.
the
We
time.
can't talk
So,
about it all, though. We're just
for
picking
example,
the parts that we want to
but this is an
discuss.
important thing. Since you had your rant, we have to deal with it.
Yeah.
So, for example, you hear a story of somebody who, by all accounts, is like a functional adult. Who's like of normal intelligence. Sometimes even like professionals who are above average intelligence, falling for absolutely ridiculous cons, like making there was recently I don't forget the person's name, but there was recently somebody whose like literal job is like cybersecurity or something, who fell for a identity theft con where somebody like contacted him and said, "Oh, there's somebody who's trying to get access to your account."
super nuanced stuff.
Yeah,
out
and
there.
they convinced him to move his money to like another account and to like buy gold bars and like hand them physically over to some guy in a car. I mean, like ridiculous stuff. You're reading, it's like, how could anybody be so stupid to fall for all of these things? And it's because they were socially engineered along the way.
Yeah.
And at the other end of the guy looks back and how could I have been so stupid? We are dealing with human psychology. We are dealing with vulnerabilities in the human brain,
Steve,
which
I
we
get
talk
it.
about all the
I
time.
totally get
we
it.
are talking about societal factors. We are talking about information ecosystem
It's
factors.
wicked complicated.
It's very complicated. And just getting angry at individuals who made a horrific decision, I know it may be satisfying and you emotionally feel that way, it's not very useful. And we need to move past it.
Yeah,
to
but
say,
it literally happened last week. I mean,
I get you.
this
I
is
get
the-
you. I had the same emotional
And
reaction.
it's
How
not-
could anybody look at that guy and vote for him?
But
How
listen,
could anybody
Steve,
have thought that was a good
Steve.
idea? How could anybody fall for a con artist?
Trump was
How
just
could
elected,
anybody think the world is flat?
But he hasn't even really done anything.
Oh,
yet.
I know, Jay. We're going to live through 4 years of shit. Get
going-
used to it.
It's like
Get used to it,
Hearing
man.
him, okay, Trump is going to be the next president. That is the least of the emotional reactions that we're going to have to the things that are going to happen.
Ban somebody.
I mean, imagine, look, we don't know what is going to happen, but there is going to be some things that are going to be so horrific that we probably will never be able to wrap our mind around it in any way, right?
Yeah.
And I can't help but see, him appointing that guy to that position to me is a clear sign of what's to come.
But what we need to steel ourselves,
Yep.
we need to get to the point where we're like, okay, yeah, we could vent around the kitchen table again, but we need to be strategic in our response. And if we can't get past this, like, how the fuck can they possibly have done this kind of emotional response? We will not be effective.
You're
in,
absolutely
in
right,
dealing
and
with
we need to
this.
become a nation again.
It's like when
I
when you're
totally
getting
agree.
trolled, if you start to dance by the trolls' music, they won by definition. You might be correct in everything you're saying
Well,
about them, but if you're letting them play the tune and you're dancing to that tune, they've won.
I look at it like this: my emotional
Your reaction is exactly
my
what they want your
emotional
reaction
response
to,
to this, and the energy that I have to this
Yeah.
is the energy that I have to spend trying to help the world heal from this fucking problem.
You remember Red Dawn, that movie? Red
Yes,
Dawn?
absolutely.
Let it turn to something else, brother.
No, that's
Let it
fine.
turn to something
it's
else.
Not, but this is who I am, Steve.
Yeah, I hear you.
When have I ever been?
All right, but it's like, all right, for example.
Like I accept where I'm at. I've done a good job of controlling my extreme anger. It doesn't even come out that
Really?
often. I'm not violent. I'm not violent. I just say a lot, right?
Yeah.
But the
you
point
have
is,
never killed anybody. I will give you
but
that.
the point is, well, we'll talk. No,
No.
but the point actually
Fortnite.
is that we
Only in
need
Fortnite.
to get riled up, guys. We need to find
Internally.
Yes, we need to find the energy to push back on everything that's going to happen, because it's going to be horrific, and it's not just going to happen in the United States, as most of you know from other countries.
This is going to impact the whole world.
Yeah. We do need to find a version of ourselves that is going to push back in the right way with this. Sure, yeah. I mean, we can't run around screaming like I just did, but I'm in my space. This is my space here. Right?
Sort of.
It is.
This is sort of your space.
Hey, people can leave if they don't like it.
This is our space.
Dan says, Jay, you're not helping. What I am doing is expressing what I truly feel. Like, if you just want me to sit here like a dub and just nod my head to what Steve says, that's bullshit.
That's a false dichotomy.
That's not where I'm at. That's not, and I don't think that being, always being calm about everything is the right way. Like, we need to find the energy in us to do this, and we need to channel that energy to be able to sustain what we're going to see over the next 4 years. And if we don't express our emotions, and we don't allow ourselves to feel what we're feeling, then are you really alive if you're just muting yourself all the time? You gotta accept what you're feeling, and you gotta let it out, and you gotta do what you gotta do to be able to live with yourself and the reality that you find yourselves in. And I find myself in probably one of the worst case scenarios I could possibly freaking imagine. As someone who's been being trained as a skeptic for the last 30 years of my life, this is one of the most difficult things I will ever have to face in my life.
I hope this is the most difficult thing we have to get through politically.
No, I mean, no, this whole thing that's going to happen in front of us. This is it, guys. It doesn't get much worse than this. You're going to lose people that you love. People are going to die, and you're going to deal with living with a fucked up government regime. This is horrible. I've read history. I understand what could happen and probably will happen. So yeah, I'm upset, but you can't put me down for being upset.
I'm not putting you down.
No,
for
it's
being
the
upset.
people, but some people are, and I'm pushing back.
Nah,
I
just-
am
they're just upset.
I am legitimately upset, and I'm expressing my emotions. If you want, go listen to some pop music if you don't like it. But this is the real shit, man. This is it. I mean, if you're not feeling even marginally what I'm feeling, then I don't think you're really facing what's about to happen here.
But engage with what I'm saying.
I am.
What I'm
I got
saying
you.
is, yeah, I hear you, but you probably shouldn't make it so personal. That's not constructive or fair.
It is personal.
But I don't think it is.
It's personal to me.
Why?
It's hitting my life personally.
But you're missing my point. Don't miss my point.
What, you mean personal with everybody? Like, don't
Yeah.
be personal with the people who voted
Yeah,
for him.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
right.
but I'm not
So
hiding.
it's like telling somebody who's the victim of a crime, how could you be so stupid? It may be true. It's not helpful. It ignores a lot of context. It's just not what we should be doing.
I mean,
think.
look, I know it's not helpful when you call somebody that's stupid. I get that. I understand that.
And it's more complicated than them just being. It's not an intelligent.
It is, but my
intelligent people can be victimized by cons.
I absolutely understand that, Steve.
And
I absolutely
Trump
do.
is nothing if not like the most successful con artist ever. Let's face it.
But to 99% of the people that are listening to our podcast and who are listening to this right now, when we look at him, there wasn't 1 second that we were fooled by his bullshit.
We knew we're from New England. We're from the Northeast of America, right? So Trump has been in our media feed for our entire lives. We've known Trump to be a completely crass, ignorant con artist since the 80s. And so, and he is. That's what and who he is, right? That's just, for us, this was, and then I then got to know him as a vaccine denier and a global warming denier and a con artist. So that's who the guy is.
And then a
So
birther.
the idea that this guy now has has become sort of like half the country or a third of the country or whatever, thinks he's God's gift to our country, or that he is somehow whatever, the Messiah, is like, of course it's overwhelming.
This is like.
But we have to figure out a way to deal with it practically.
But
you know
the
what I mean?
absurdity that is cooked into this whole thing, Steve.
It is absurd.
Like, I get it. Like, I want the country to heal, and I literally would forgive everybody that voted for Trump if they finally came to some legitimate realization.
Well, how are we going to make that happen?
But I know, and you know damn well, that when the real shit starts to roll downhill. Wait, let me finish my sentence.
Yeah.
When really effed up shit starts to happen,
Yeah.
they're not going to go, oh, we were wrong. Holy Christ, we're going to vote differently in 2 years. Like, they're not going to do that.
Some people
Some
will.
of them will.
Some of
Yeah.
them will.
You can't
sure.
make a statement about everyone who voted for Trump. It's
God
gonna-
damn.
you
Okay,
can't.
yes, everything from here on out, guys. Take a
But this
percentage
is
of the.
important, Jay. Yes,
Yes.
there's a third of the country that are in the cult of Trump, and nothing that will happen or we will say or we will do will affect that. Absolutely.
I'm not saying that people. I'm not
and
saying
there's
that
a
some
good chunk of the
aren't gonna
people
come
who
around.
see Trump for exactly how he is.
It's not going to
And
be
then-
100 million voters,
And
though.
then there's the people in the middle who are the ones that we're trying to persuade. And just like Jay, this is skepticism. There are the true believers. There are the shruggies. There are the persuadables.
Yeah.
We're always focused on the persuadables.
Understood.
We don't spend our time banging our head against the wall about the true believers that where nothing we say could ever affect them.
I know.
It's the same thing. You got to think about this as a skeptic.
Steve, I know who our target audience is. Absolutely, it's the people who can be affected by
Yeah.
reason. I completely get it. But look,
Yeah.
let's just get back to basics here. I had an immense emotional reaction to something that deserves an immense emotional
get you.
reaction. Okay, I'm not ashamed of
I'm
feeling
trying to
what I'm
redirect
feeling.
that now.
No, I get it. I'm look, Steve, you are not an emotional based person like I am.
Don't-
You're
Every-
not.
every human
accept
is
the not like
emotional.
I am part of that.
But you are
Every
not. You
human
don't,
is
you
emotional.
Don't, you don't. I feel every single bump in the road in a way that you don't. It's been that way our entire lives, right?
But
it is very.
You don't know what I feel. You only know what I express. You
Yeah,
don't know
but
how
I know you better than most
you
people.
don't know how I process my emotions.
Well, did you ever feel a spike in rage like this?
Yes.
And you hold that shit in?
I don't hold it in. I process it
Okay,
differently
but
than
you don't
do.
express it like I do, right?
Not in public.
Right. Okay. Now,
You don't see the axes that he
that's fine.
throws at
I-
mannequins
I
in the
do
backyard?
intellectualize.
This is
I
interesting.
intellectualize
You
a
do,
lot.
you do, and guess what?
Which is a perfectly
difference-
cromulent defense
It
mechanism.
is, it is. But we are very different people.
Yeah.
I need to let out my emotional responses. I need
Yeah,
to. I
I'm just
have to.
questioning whether you need to do it here.
No, but I can't control that. Sometimes I can't control it. Like when I see something like this, I mean, this is literally like the absolute sweet spot of rage for me.
But
right
see,
here.
what I need to do is explain exactly why this asshole is wrong.
You do.
Can I do that now?
Some people do. Wait, look, you talk 90% of the time as it is. Let me talk a
No,
little
come
bit.
on.
Right, come on.
Stop.
But the point is, I'm telling people out there, it's okay for you to feel your feelings. Do it. It's mentally healthy to express your feelings. And don't hurt people. Don't do crazy shit. But if you need to fucking scream, you need to get it out. Get it out. Because holding it in is not normal. It's not natural.
All right.
And it's not going to help you.
Can I say a couple of things?
Do
Let's
it.
go.
Right. So about getting
Wait,
back
hold
to
on.
the video.
Right?
Getting back to the video. There's
Everything
a
that he
couple
said
of
is
things that
wrong.
really rub me the wrong way. So first of all, it's the idea that, of course, like he's blaming Democrats for something to Tucker Carlson. Go fuck yourself, first of all.
God damn.
Second-
What a collection of idiots.
But the idea that we shouldn't be quantifying the carbon footprint of industries and our actions because we should just say this is for nature.
This
and
is spiritual.
spiritualism.
That was the sentence
It's
that drove me
ridiculous.
crazy.
It's
Like, that is
ridiculous.
That is anti everything.
Again, even if my turn, even if you feel a spiritual connection to nature, and again, I feel a deep emotional connection to nature. I am
Yeah, this was the fun
a
segment.
conservationist. I believe in defending nature, if for no other reason that it's nice. We love nature. Nature is psychologically healthy. I love being out in nature. I love everything about it. But the idea that that's somehow why we're doing this, not to count carbon footprint, is just a non sequitur. It's ridiculous. It's not even wrong. It's just stupid. It's
There it is.
ridiculous. Now, the other thing is, this is a guy who is now allied himself and buddied up with the politician who doesn't believe in global warming, who told the fossil fuel executives, give me money and then you could do whatever the hell you want. Literally said that. And it's amazing that did not get the press that it deserves.
This is a guy, Tucker Carlson, went to Russia, went to one of their supermarkets, and literally
hugged Brett. I mean, Tucker Carlson's a jackass.
his whole
he's
angle
a-
was to show
It was
up the United
propaganda.
States.
It was
all
propaganda.
propaganda.
It was pro-Russia propaganda.
Yeah, so when I see two people...
But anyway,
Right.
so you got to give me
Environment.
getting a little bit of space, Jay.
Yeah,
It's
the
taking up a
environment.
lot of space in this.
All right, I'm just
room
going
right
to move over there. Come on.
that he is completely sold out his original sort of persona as an environmental defender, an environmental lawyer.
Yeah.
Right, so that he could have the opportunity to destroy our health. You know, it's just he's a hypocrite.
And it's a crank.
He is a crank, and now he's also a hypocrite. He has betrayed everything he once stood for, and he is promoting and helped elect a guy who is going to destroy the environment.
Yep.
The thing he professes to have a spiritual reverence for. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That was that was my emotional reaction to that
Somebody
video.
said, down, Jay. That's a bad Jay.
Bad Jay.
Tron said moderators need to mute
man,
the mics. Yeah,
Steve-
we're going to mute the mics.
Steve, we've been doing this a long time together.
The point is
right?
the back and forth. It's fun.
And somebody, they might have been joking. Steve and I adore each other. We don't just love each other. I mean, we've been Steve is like
know they're
as,
brothers,
as
right? I don't
best
know
of
if- As
friends
brothers.
as
No,
I
yeah.
could
As-
But
possibly
we
have.
are best friends as well. As brothers.
Yeah, I mean, we've done this whole thing together, and Steve knows damn well that I am an emotional person. But look, I'm sane. I just can't help it. Like when you're at a nightclub and it's really loud, and someone comes up and talks in your ear, and they talk really loud, and you hear your ear top off. That's what my anger just felt like.
Yeah.
I heard what he said, and I'm like, holy Christ! I'm thinking of this.
Now you redlined. That's all.
I redlined because babies are going to die because of this guy. Because vaccines are going to go away, or on some level.
Well,
Well, I think they're going to restrict them, right? Like to
Yeah, but it's gonna be-
not forcing you to
certainly
have them.
vaccine compliance will go down.
right? That's
Yeah.
right.
And
Vaccine
babies will
compliance
die.
will go down
And
as a
babies
result,
will
if
die.
to whatever
Right,
extent this guy's
because of
able to do
stupidity.
anything, and this will again make America contagious again is a great tagline.
Thank
because
you. I made that up.
Good
Will
job, Ian.
it will
Thank you.
absolutely increase contagious diseases in this country
Yeah.
and elsewhere. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, for nothing, because this guy's a crank who doesn't understand science, but think he does.
I think even though we're angry, I should say this one thing: we should be kind to people, ruthless to systems. Is a quote
Yeah,
that people
I mean,
have said. Like that's
Yeah.
the people who voted were mistaken. But we don't want them to get hurt either,
Yeah.
right? I don't want any. Even if you voted for Trump and you're a diehard right-wing white supremacist, even you should have health care. Like I mean, like
I feel like, guys, that we've been desensitized through the media for a long time. Like, I want people to really.
This has been normalized to a degree.
You have to.
That's what happens in any abusive relationship.
Exactly. But we have
You
to
get
remind
normalized because
ourselves.
we are being abused by the right-wing propaganda
Because of the
machine.
anti-abortion craze that's been going on in the United States. This just happened a couple weeks ago. A mother, right, currently already has children, had some type of complication and needed to get an abortion, and the hospital wouldn't do it because they were afraid of the blowback. And the woman died in the parking lot.
Can you
right?
imagine, like if my daughter died in that situation?
I know.
I mean, if you don't have kids, I
I
get
would
it.
not be
because
responsible for my actions after that.
when you have kids, you start to really understand this stuff.
Yeah.
People are going to get pregnant. They're going to be
It's already happening.
super
Yeah. It's gonna
excited
keep
about their
happening.
family, and they're not going to get vaccinated because they don't know enough to try to find some way to get the vaccination for their kids after this.
Yeah.
And their child is going to die for no reason, and then they will research it after their child dies and find out that their child died for no reason, and their lives are destroyed. That's going to happen. Yeah, so I'm pissed off that that's going to happen, and I'm freaking out because it's going to happen for a long time.
Yeah.
It's not one thing here and one thing there where you're like, oh, all right, that's bad. But, when it's going to happen every day, like mass murders are already happening almost every goddamn day in the United States, we have to remind ourselves to be horrified. We really do.
All right.
Like, our emotions help fuel what we
At
do.
the risk of pissing you off even more.
Oh God, wait.
Also think about the fact that,
Wait.
I mean, we're like right on the edge of being able to make some progress on global warming. And now that's
fucked.
shot to
It's
hell.
fucked.
Yeah.
Trump is literally going to do everything he can to frustrate anything that we've done or are planning to do to combat global warming, to transition to a green economy, to reduce our carbon footprint.
Is that
all
supposed to be
stuff.
funny, or is that guy trolling us?
He's trolling.
He's trolling, just ignore him.
Trolling.
Just get rid of him. Like, we don't need to hear
can
that
ban
shit.
him.
Yeah, okay. After everything you heard, you're gonna sit here and be like, MAGA?
Well, yeah, of
Really,
course
dude?
they gotta do something. They have no, they don't have a
Jay, you never
decent
know.
income.
You
They don't
never
have
know. He
Never
may,
know.
something we say may resonate, and down the road,
I hope so.
He may
I hope so.
moderate his views in
Yeah.
some way. It happens.
He's a pet.
Steve,
No,
I'm
he's a
telling
new.
you-
He's a new.
I'm telling you, man. I just said
But
this.
we are going to lose 4 years. We cannot afford to. We're going to lose more than 4 years. This is going to
Yeah.
set back our attempts at trying to. And we're already like behind the 8 ball. Like maybe we could skate by and like avoid the worst of it and make things better. And now it's like 2 steps back, man. It's going to be horrible for the effort to deal with global warming. That's just accept it. That's just going to happen. But we just have to hope that maybe somehow we'll get things steered in a good direction. Like, for example, the one thing that Republicans kind of agree with that is a good thing for dealing with global warming is nuclear power. They're
Yeah.
pro-nuclear power.
Yeah,
That's true.
So we could sort of like try to push them in that direction for a while. Like, all right, sure, you don't like solar and wind because you're idiots, fine. But
Think of
maybe
the birds.
We could push nuclear power for 4 years, then we can get back to doing the other stuff, like when adults are in the room again,
Yeah.
or in charge of the government again, whatever. But it's going to be bad. We just have to inure ourselves to this fact. It's going to be horrible.
Yeah.
We just have to get through it and do what we can to mitigate it and we should already be gearing up for the 2026 midterms.
Right.
We got to be gearing up for 2028.
Probably a
now,
bad- yeah.
right now.
Probably
we
a
have to
bad
do
pun,
it.
but don't take your foot off the gas.
Yeah.
In a way,
Right.
the electric car gas. I
Yeah,
mean.
what
Like, we
one
gotta keep
thing that
moving
I
forward.
learned that made a profound shift in my thinking about things was removing myself from belonging to any team whatsoever, right? So
yeah.
we did that
Yeah,
with
that's fine.
politics. Like sports to me, like I find people like freaking out even 10 times more than I did about their sports team losing, right? They'll express those emotions when their sports team
It's
loses.
okay to do that for fun as long as you keep it in
But
perspective.
the point is, any kind of association that you develop in your mind where you belong to a team immediately removes perspective that
Yeah.
you could be having.
You become
Like,
partisan. You become tribal.
You do, and like this isn't
This
about
is
voting
psychological
for a team,
experiments have
guys.
shown this.
This is not about your party, your political party winning, so therefore you feel good. That's not what this is about. This is about putting people in the positions of power that actually have the skill sets to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that Trump does not give a shit about global warming or even believes in it, like that should move the needle for you. Like, dude, there is no denying that global warming is happening under any scientific angle that you come at it. It's happening. It's happening. It's damn near unlivable in Florida and Texas, all of the Gulf states. It's damn near unlivable there now in the summer. And think about what it's like for people that live even more down that line. We are gonna have changes in the world that are so dramatic. Food is going to become much more valuable and hard to grow. Clean water is going to become harder to grow. But, living in an environment where it's 120 degrees out in the sun, that can kill anybody. This is what's happening right now.
We're looking at you, Arizona.
It's not even where it's gonna be. It's already happening. It's gonna get a lot worse.
Well, we also it's unequivocal that the recent flooding that we've had, from the Helena in North Carolina, in your own hometown of Oxford, that the amount of rainfall was substantially increased by increasing temperatures, by global warming, and that overwhelmed the infrastructure and caused massive flooding. That's pretty much unequivocal at this point. I mean, scientists are pretty agree that there's no question that global warming increased the effects of those hurricanes, of that flooding. And that's going to keep happening. We've been saying this for the last 10 years. Every time something this is, we're getting freaking once in a 300-year tornadoes in Connecticut. It's like, these are not one-offs. They keep happening over and over again, and they're increasing, and it's not a coincidence that we said it was going to happen. Scientists said it's going to be happening. It was going to happen, and it's happening.
It's happening.
And it's going to happen more.
Yeah.
Although we are in an upswing. And I was just reading an article about this today, from climate scientists. 2023 was not only the hottest year on record, it was hotter than the models predicted. And they're trying to figure out, they don't know why that is. They don't know why we're currently in a warming trend, in the last year or two, that's either at the upper limit or even peaking above the predicted models. And they don't know if this is just like an El Nino, is this a short-term kind of fluctuation? Is it because, actually if you decrease certain kinds of pollution, you actually reduce the amount of light that gets reflected back, and you actually temporarily worsen global warming by reducing pollution, ironically. So that's happening. Or they're saying it's possible that our models are undercalling the amount of warming that we're going to be seeing, and it's going to actually be worse than we were saying. And some people have said climate scientists may have overreacted to all the pushback they've gotten, the political pushback, and are being overly conservative in their estimates. Whatever. I don't know if that's true or not, but it is undeniably true that we are currently in a pocket of warming that is at the high end or even exceeding our predictions.
Right. It's actually faster. It's going faster than we thought.
It's possible that this may be a short-term trend, and we will.
God, I hope so.
We will go down again, and then it'll be at the lower end of the range for a couple of years. Or it could be this is like an actual adjustment that's happening. We don't know. We'll have to see. Actually, there's an interesting article, maybe we might talk about this on the show a little bit tonight, that, we have weather prediction and we have climate prediction, but climate prediction really acts on like a 7 to 10 year time frame. And we really have no way of making predictions in the middle, like over the short term.
That makes sense.
The months to years. And they were saying but we could have that if we had the systems in place that allowed us to get access to and rapidly update our models and process information as it's coming in real time. And we need to do this. It's basically what they're arguing. These are climate scientists saying we need to be able to update our models on a quicker time frame than just every 7 to 10 years, because things are changing quick and we don't know how to react to them. We don't know if this is what it means that 2023 is peaking above the models.
I mean, that's an interesting thing to hear, and I'm actually kind of glad to hear that's even a possibility, that we had a spike and then it could kind of settle down a little bit. The bottom line is, though, we know that global warming is happening. We're seeing it. I mean, goddamn. I mean, we've never had 70-degree day. When's the last time we had a 70-degree day in late November?
In November, I know.
I mean, I was out in T-shirts and shorts in November. I
Right.
mean, I should be freezing my ass off where we live, and this isn't just like an anomaly. It is the norm now. You know, it is what it is.
But it's not. But what I'm saying is, there's also this short-term thing that's happening where it's even hotter than we thought it was going to be. That may be the new norm, or it may be more of a fluctuation.
But
we'll
how long will
either
that be?
way, it's still
is that 5 years, 20, 30
Right.
years from now? Like
even if
you
we
know?
then have a couple of years that are colder than the models predict, we're still, the overall trend is still right with the models. It's getting warmer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there has been some requests for us to lighten the mood here, so that's fine. Let's just take Kennedy
We lightened
off.
the mood before.
Get that guy's face out
right.
of my face. Like, I don't want to
Get-
see that.
Get that guy out of there.
Hit me up with those two guys again. With
Oh,
the, yeah, there we go.
You are the first person in the world to break 2 world records. Then wouldn't that mean
God damn.
that you would have a 3rd world record? And be the first person to break 3 world records?
Wait. I love that. That guy's reaction is so perfect.
It's brilliant, though. I love those
Do you
kind
guys
of
think it's
logic
live?
things.
Do you think they do that live, or do they plan it in very?
And then wouldn't that mean
I know they're
if
doing some good editing. In
They
there, for
probably
sure.
edited a little
you are the
bit,
first
but
person in the world
it's
to
like
break
certainly they're doing it essentially
2
live.
world
You know,
Yeah.
like you know, and
All right,
there's
turn
probably
it
a
off,
couple
yeah.
takes.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Good writing.
Hold on, let's see. Let's see if this is the one.
So that means you broke an infinite number of world
Yeah,
records.
it's remarkable. It's so clever. I love that kind of thinking.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Here, this is the one that you really want to watch.
Hey, no, stop.
Yes.
No,
There we go. This,
There it is.
if I
Yes. You forget that you were ever gay.
I was never gay.
Exactly.
Wait, no, stop.
Yes.
No, stop. You can't. I was never gay.
Okay.
No, I was never gay.
Sure.
You can't just state something and snap your fingers and then be like, I was never gay.
If you say so.
That's so funny, man.
so good.
Oh
They're
boy.
very funny. I love those guys. Oh, Nauticon. Wait. a
Yeah. Hey
minute.
guys,
Whoa.
Nauticon
Whoa.
2025. It's happening in
Moving
White Plains,
on.
New York.
Nauticon.
We have the same lineup as last year. We have all the SGU. We have.
So should we promise people that you will or will not have a political rant at
no,
Nauticon?
I mean, Nauticon is all about fun
Yeah.
and
So
socializing.
no political
and-
rants.
Right.
No, I don't. I mean, look, I honestly don't even. I don't want to talk about it like we like. I don't need it to be this daily thing anymore. I want to do once I get my feet back underneath me when we move forward and have to actually deal with like changes and things
Yeah, yeah,
happening
yeah.
and boots on the ground type of stuff. You know, we got to be there to put out the right information and to bring some sanity to everything, and it's going to be hard, guys. But we're going to do it.
We will
So
keep each
come
other
see
sane.
us. Register here. It's May 16th. Well, 15th is the VIP. 16th through 17th. If the country still exists by then, we'll be there. Kidding. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway,
register
Nauticon is
again.
happening on the weekend of what is it? May
16th through 17th.
15, 16, 17.
There's still some VIP tickets. The board meeting is all filled up, but there are still tickets to the main conference if any wish to go. And if you're a patron, there is a.
And we're going to be in D.C. in December 7th.
It's true.
In D.C., Washington, D.C. We have
DC,
a
if you go to our events
private
page,
show and extravaganza.
you can see private show extravaganza.
That's gonna be fun.
Nauticon.
A lot of people like this. Someone in the chat, Linda McCarter, said that Care would
Linda.
be safe there because it's a chill city. It's good to hear that. You know, I've
Yeah,
never
that's
been.
true.
I mean,
That's
I've,
what I
o-
hear.
I've heard lots of things to the contrary, but I'm hearing a lot of people say that there's nothing to worry about. That's great. I mean, and I would love to go and do some work there. It'd be an awesome place to go.
And globally flying. That's weird. Anyway.
All right, so
We have any other topics to talk about?
Well,
I mean, we
Steve,
could go
you-
into the TikToks, or we have anything else that we
where
want
can people buy those tickets, Ian?
for the extravaganza. and
All
all
three.
that?
We have 3 shows.
Yeah,
coming.
I showed that, but it was under the events page. If you go to theskepticsguide.org/events, or you click on the events button, you can see here private show, click, extravaganza, click, Nauticon, click.
Yeah.
And that's where you go.
There it is. Thank you, Ian.
And that's the thing. You can also, if you know anybody who wants to book us, book the SGU for all types of lectures. There's a new link, lectures, live shows by Steve and all the rogues.
We do it all.
We do it all. There's a little form if you are part of a company or college or anything like that. Feel free to fill those out. Send it in. We will look it over.
We will go. We will talk to
We
you.
will go. We will talk at you at length.
With you.
With you. Towards you. Behind you.
And
Maybe to the side, but that's extra.
yeah.
Olivia said we could stay at her house, so we should.
Hooray!
yeah, we should
Chocolate
go.
for all.
I know, right? I really ate about 800 calories worth of
I
chocolate.
imagine Olivia's home to be pretty much
Built out of
exactly
chocolate?
like the Willy Wonka's chocolate factory.
Yeah, if it isn't, I'm going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
She showed us pictures. She's like, I went out for a hike, and she showed us pictures, and I'm like, that's heaven. That's not. What are you talking about? It's unbelievable.
Lydia, I will talk at your medical school. You got to just arrange it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the Netflix doc series with George Knapp about the UFOs? I live in Vegas. He's a local dude.
No.
No.
I think, yeah, isn't he kind of off his rocker? He's like a Bob Lazar guy.
I forgot.
I don't know. He's one of those guys.
One of those guys.
Linda
One of those
McCarter,
guys.
just email us at booking@theskepticsguide.org, and we can
My
have a
medical
chit
unit
chat
chit-chat?
about getting. Steve
Yeah,
out
Linda,
there.
hit us up.
Yeah.
Hit us up. Go to the skepticsguide.org, and then it's like the top link right at the top. Book us. Book us, if you can see that. Trying to do more stuff. 2025, we're going to have to do some extra things, right? Just because of the state of the world. But we need to do all that stuff. He's the journalist. Okay.
Yeah. One more thing, too, guys. Like,
Bob Lazar
consider
really,
your
no,
finances and your retirement and everything with the changes that potentially are going to be happening in the future. Like things, it's not going to be business as usual. So
Yeah.
talk to whatever company is holding your 401k or whatever your retirement.
It's a good
investments are.
time to review your investment strategies. Again, we're not experts on investment.
No,
It's
but
not-
but
This
talk
is
to
not
financial
advice.
advice.
Not financial advice. But no, it is not a bad idea to think about,
the future.
Yeah.
the future.
That's crazy.
But
Who would do
Your
that?
strategy for the future.
What's the SG's take on this UAP stuff? We did that earlier
Yeah, we
today. You
talked
missed
about
it. Yeah, so if you just scroll back, if you're on TikTok, so go to YouTube and you will see we were talking about the UAP congressional hearing that was just happening today. We watched some of it. It was painful. Almost to 10K. Oh yeah, 10K on the like clicking thing. So click that screen. If you're on TikTok, it does something. I don't know if it actually does anything. But
Captain
it,
Obvious said invest in Dogecoin.
Dogecoin,
It's funny. It's like that's Elon Musk's.
I
I was
know.
just talking today
It did
about hedge
increase.
funds.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it did increase recently because of the Doge Department of Governmental Efficiency. Yeah, so that's funny how that moves.
This is
That
one of
moves
those
the needle,
times,
so
right?
dumb.
Like when Bitcoin came out was one of those times. This is one of those times. Things are going to change, and they're hard to predict. But if you land on like what to do, what to buy, what to invest,
Trying to stay a little bit ahead of the curve. at
yeah.
least.
But I mean, I just wish I knew like what the next thing
Of
is going to
course.
be, right?
That's the thing.
Because it literally could be Dogecoin right now. If you just spend $50 on Dogecoin, you might be, might
Jay,
make a
you
few hundred
need
grand.
to look into somebody suggested Skepticoin.
Skeptical.
Oh
You
my
make
God.
our
Is
own
there really?
cryptocurrency.
Jacob,
Oh, God.
Jacob, I love that. Well, no, but I was look it, man. We were joking before you missed it. There was a joke here that I said that this is going to be the new fiat currency,
Yeah.
the SGU coins that we made as a joke. But
The
yeah,
problem
man,
is we can't bilk our listeners because they're usually too
No.
hip, and so
but you
we can't rug
the
pull
thing about those currencies,
people who have no rugs.
about digital currencies is
Who have carpets.
you can't really make a prediction. Like you can't say this is going to be the one to invest in. It all depends on what people think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you can read Elon's tweet the moment before he tweets it, then you can buy it early and then sell it. I don't know. This is the first time you've ever seen the live stream? Oh, well, welcome in.
Welcome, end
We
of
do it on
days.
TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and
Yeah.
Facebook.
I like his
Actually on
avatar
Patreon,
too. It's
too.
a cool picture if I'm seeing it right.
This is a little atypical
Uh-oh.
live stream.
That's true. Yeah, it's,
Well, I haven't really gotten pissed off in quite a while.
I know.
Yeah.
We
I
had
mean,
to
it's
do
not every
something.
day that the Antichrist gets elected
We
president.
fed
right.
we fed
you know
Jay
what's funny
chocolate,
is
and he's
it all
hyperactive
started-
now.
I felt
which
it
is the
hit
thing,
me, and
right?
it started with me screaming. I actually screamed. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, I wonder if it came through. But, I mean, it did on the the mics.
We need
We'll
to-
clip that out and we'll put it on the internet.
Yeah.
That'll be the new emote of somebody screaming, woke screaming.
All right, is it time, Steve? Are you going to do your thing?
Yeah,
right
I'll
now?
I
do
think
my
it's
thing.
TikTok time.
All right, guys. Have a great week. I will see you guys on the live stream on Friday, right?
Right.
We're pretty much lined up.
I think we're going to do that again. There's a Saturday show coming out, which they're recording tonight.
That's right.
If you want
putting an
merch,
interview out
Yeah,
there?
we'll put.
merch.
Who should we put in there? We have
All the interviews we did at SciCon were
Yeah.
freaking awesome. Michael Mann.
Michael
and
Mann. Maybe we should do Michael Mann tonight.
Any future plans to come back to LA? I wasn't able
Yes,
to make it.
we were
a few
just
years.
talking
Yeah,
about
we were
it,
just talking
guys.
about that. Good.
Yeah,
good
we're
plan.
Somewhere
definitely-
on the West Coast, maybe LA, maybe somewhere else.
We're not sure. It might
Yeah.
be San Francisco or LA.
San Francisco.
I'd like to go back to LA.
Long Beach. Short
But
Beach.
yeah, we're planning next
Beach.
year's extravaganza and private shows. We're going to do 4 or 5 things.
Yeah.
So that'll be coming out. You got to give me some time because we're just working out details now. And I'm not
Tax
sure.
season will not have Evan, or we won't do any shows. So just so you're aware.
No,
Unless
but
we
what
do
Evan
it at his
said
house.
was, like, if we could do maybe
Local.
one show that's
Yes.
drivable for him, like on the East Coast. We'll probably do an
Yeah.
East Coast show in the spring.
Right.
And then we'll do, like, after April 15th, we'll do shows
Yeah.
in the West Coast, the Midwest, and the Southeast. Like, and try to hit cities we haven't hit before, we haven't hit in a long time.
Yeah.
But we have the details to be determined, but we're starting to strategize next year's
Yeah.
events. We also have Nauticon next year already
Mhm.
baked in. There may be some other events.
Evan will
happening.
not be doing taxes there.
Yeah.
But so stick around. We're gonna stream the TikToks. So just stick around and we'll all do that together. Hooray! We have a couple fun ones.
Can we have a
Quote, unquote.
conversation later about swag?
Are you going to be here? Are you going to wait for me, or are you going to call you?
No, just call me
right.
because I got to prep for the show
Yeah,
today.
yeah. Go ahead.
All right. Thanks again, guys.
All
Have
right,
a
he's a
great
prepper.
day. See you soon. Bye, Ian.
Bye, Jay's a prepper.
do you
Here we
want-
go. Do you
oh,
guys
you did here, right?
hitchhike about the galaxy?
Well, I'll give those to Josh. So you can take the
Yeah,
rest
I'll
of
tell.
We skeptic across the universe. Get it? All right, let me. Oh, that was a crotch shot. Okay, very good. It stands upright when I'm pressing that button. Okay, there we go.
There we go.
Let me get off of the crotch. All right, now let me do this and let me.
Gotta get
orient that a little
TikTokify
bit.
our background.
Centered? Oh, not centered there. You gotta fix TikTok. He left the chocolate. Did he? I don't think he did.
No, he took the chocolate.
Leave a truffle. I want to try the truffle.
So which two were I going to do? Was I going to do?
You
Gonna do definitely
was-
the DNA information one.
right. DNA information. We're gonna do. Oop, my headphone broke.
If the other one was the RFK one, we already did it. We don't have to do. I don't wanna do it
Yeah,
again. We
I
could just do the
think-
DNA one.
You're right. I think it was actually the RFK one.
Let's just do the DNA one, and then
All right.
that'll be it for this week.
Let me fix this TikTok because it's a little. All right, so it was this, not that guy. It was this guy, right?
Yeah.
Yes. This fucking guy. Okay, we got this going. Talk on that mic. Check, check. Steve, talk on the mic.
Hello, checking.
There
This
we
is the
go. Okay,
microphone. Is that good?
Very good, very good, very good. All right, let me stop recording and then start. Yes, again. Stop. Yes, again. Wednesday. Ask questions, chat, while I'm still setting up. You can ask directly to Steve.
That's right. Ask me anything.
Ask Steve everything. Where is the settings?
I won't necessarily answer, but you
That's
can
right.
ask.
You can certainly ask. That's not working. Edit script. Default. Huh. All right. Well, whatever. All right. Here we go, and we'll get ready. No chocolate, just for Jay. I know. I know. All right. Here we go. And
How can there be an argument against this? I genuinely cannot understand.
The human genome, the DNA molecule, is an information-bearing molecule. Look up there, EXIT. You see 4 letters. You know that has a meaning, and you will deduce immediately that whatever physical processes went into producing that, there's a mind behind it. And yet, some of my colleagues can look at the DNA molecule with the word 3.4 billion letters long and say it was chance and the laws of nature. You know, I said to them, tell me the origin of what you do science with, your brain or your mind. And they say, well, the brain is the end product of a mindless, unguided process. And I smile at them and I say, and you trust it? Tell me honestly, if you knew that your computer that you're going to use tomorrow in your lab was the end product of an unguided mindless process, would you trust it? And from every scientist I've asked that question, with hesitation, I've had the answer, no, I would not. And I said, I see you have a problem.
I hate that there's two pieces of music playing
Yeah.
at once. Like nonsensical. All right, we're rolling.
All right. So a few things there. I'm going to start at the back end of that, actually. He's basically saying if your brain is the end result of unguided natural evolutionary processes, do you trust it? And scientists say no. And his conclusion was, well, you have a problem there. It's like, well, dude, you should not trust your brain. That is absolutely correct. This is what we call neuropsychological humility. We have been talking about this in the skeptical movement for years. This is the result of understanding how much of a kludge your brain is. Your brain is subject to all kinds of cognitive biases, to heuristics, to perceptual problems, to memory problems. Your brain is not reliable. It is flawed in many ways, and you shouldn't just blindly trust your brain because it did evolve. So, he was trying to say that you should trust your brain. That, I think maybe that's his problem, is that he trusts his brain too much. He doesn't realize all of the cognitive biases that his own thinking is subject to. But let's back up to the beginning here. He's essentially making the intelligent design argument that, living things have information, and information cannot come from natural blind processes, by chance, for example. But that is kind of assuming the conclusion, right? He's just assuming that natural processes can't result in increases in information. This is definitely one of the premises of intelligent design. But of course, when did intelligent design really come out? In the late 80s, early 90s? So they've had 30, 40 years to prove their hypothesis that natural systems cannot generate information, and they completely failed to do so. They have not been able to support that premise at all. In fact, it has been utterly destroyed by actual scientists. I like how he says, some of my colleagues. Do you mean 99% of your colleagues? You mean the vast majority of scientists in basically any of the sciences, but specifically biological scientists, evolutionary scientists, etc.? Yes, they all pretty much agree that evolution happened, that it can increase the amount of information in a system. Now, part of the game that they play is they say by quote unquote random processes, but evolution involves many non-random processes, right? Natural selection is a selective process. It isn't a random process. It is the non-random survival of those living things which are better suited to their environment. So we know that living things, that natural processes can increase the amount of information in the system. Genes can get duplicated, for example. Entire chromosomes can duplicate, etc. The amount of just raw genetic information can increase over time through many processes. And we also know that there could be differential survival of that information which produces something useful, something that gives a survival advantage, to the individuals who have it. And so there's non-random processes as well. So you have this kind of two-stroke engine, as I often say. You have this, this process of evolution that involves things that increase the amount of information, things that increase the variability of that information, and then non-random selection, natural selective processes. And in combination, they can produce, especially given millions, billions of years, right, hundreds of millions of years for multicellular life, they can produce very complicated, information-dense systems. Now, the real question is, he's basically just making this 40-year-old massively debunked argument that natural systems, that essentially bottom-up systems cannot produce specific information, specified information, as the intelligent designers say. That's been destroyed, that premise. But what he's really saying is that that you can't work with bottom-up processes. But what we should be saying is, how do we tell the difference between a bottom-up information system versus a top-down information system? Does DNA look like something that was designed by a designer, or does it look like something that evolved through natural but messy processes? And there, it's pretty much a home run for it looks like something that's the product of bottom-up evolution. Right? It's messy. Again, it's a kludge. There's a lot of junk DNA in there that doesn't appear to do anything. It's very inefficient in a lot of ways. It looks like something that just evolved and over time with pieces being added and random stuff happening, rather than something that was clean and designed from the top down by one intelligent designer. Does not look that way at all. If you're interested in that topic, there's a ton of information online. If you look up the molecular evidence for evolution or genetic evidence for evolution, you will see all of the many independent lines of evidence that show you that DNA, that in fact all living things, but all the aspects of biology. But if you want to look just at the molecular evidence for life being the result of organic evolution, is pretty overwhelming. Yes, DNA looks like a bottom-up, naturally evolved system of information, not something that was created top-down by a designer. Absolutely. This has been debated, for, again, decades ago. The intelligent designers tried this gambit in the 80s, 90s. They failed. They got no traction because they're wrong, because their arguments are bad, their arguments are wrong, and the scientific community pretty easily dealt with the nonsense that they were selling. But of course, that's not stopping them from continuing to try to sell it. I guess now they're doing it on TikTok.
Okay.
All right.
I think we did the thing.
We did the thing. That was fun.
Yep.
I like he makes the argument. So you're going to trust your brain? Do you trust your brain? Dude, really? Seriously? That's your argument?
Come on. Come on, guys.
Come on.
Okay, so we got that going. So go ahead, hit up Steve with any questions before we go. We will see you on Friday, though.
Yep, we'll do Friday, then we'll have a show out on
We'll
Saturday.
have a show.
And then we'll just do it over and over again.
Yeah, we'll just do that forever
Keep
and
doing
ever.
forever and repeat.
Okay, there's this one. I gotta just finish this thing real quick. What was this called? DNA creationism. All right, very good. Just in his brain that God talks to him. Yes.
Yeah, we have 60% of the same DNA as a potato. Pretty much any plant. I use the banana.
Banana is like 70 or something.
60? No, with all plants, it's basically 60%. Because that's the basic machinery of cells, right? We're eukaryotes. They're eukaryotes. Any eukaryotes are going to have about 60% of their genes. Again, it depends on how you count, like what the percentage of the genes is. But whatever, there's going to be this core of genes, of genetic instructions that are the same among all eukaryotes, because it's the basic machinery of the cells, right? And then the 40% is what gives us all of the diversity among eukaryotes. So yeah, that's why, again, like people say, you're going to put a fish gene into a tomato. It's like, well, what's a fish gene? What makes a gene a fish gene?
Right.
When fish and tomatoes already share 60% of their genes, right?
But my tomato's going to taste like sushi.
It's going to taste like fish. Well, only if you put omega-3.
Oh, yeah. If
you make tomatoes make omega-3, yeah, then it will kind of taste fishy.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
not if you give it other genes. It just does whatever the gene does. It's a gene. It's not a fish gene or a tomato gene. It's a freaking gene.
Anyway, well, thank you, everybody, for tapping the screen. We got to 11K likes. I think that's a good thing.
That's
Who knows?
nice. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a bigger number than before. We will do next Wednesday, I believe, right? Next Wednesday we're still good?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think I have anything going on next Wednesday. And then we'll be off for the Thanksgiving.
For Thanksgiving. There
that
might
2
be
weeks?
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in 2 weeks,
I'll
right?
be out of town. So yeah, I've definitely nothing for the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Right.
There won't be
do anything.
or the Friday after. There won't be a live stream.
But then the following Wednesday probably, and then it gets into that holiday season,
Yeah, then it's tricky. So then, all right, so for December, well, first we have the December 7th weekend. We're going to be out of town. Then for 2 weeks, I'm covering the inpatient service, so I will not be available for the Wednesday live streams for 2 weeks. Maybe the Fridays are iffy. And then we're into the holiday season. So basically, December's pretty much out.
Yeah, we might not be able
and then we'll be back in January.
Might be able to do an off-the-cuff food stream.
Maybe something. Yeah, we'll do something maybe. Again, it's Fridays maybe, but, because they're later in the day. But,
something fun
that
we can do while trying to eat.
Basically, especially because I'm on the inpatient service.
Yeah.
This December's pretty much out.
Somebody said, I've never had Thanksgiving. Well, turkey isn't that good, so you're not missing that much.
I love turkey.
I mean, but it's like compared to what, chicken?
No, turkey's better if you cook it right.
That's it. You think the meat is better or the skin?
No, I think the meat is better. Turkey meat is better
know.
than chicken meat.
No, I don't think. Well, maybe. Okay. I think it's kind of maybe.
Whatever. So
whatever.
Thanksgiving is just like you have a massive meal with family and friends. And it doesn't really matter what you eat, but typically, like the classic American dish for Thanksgiving is you have turkey with stuffing, some kind of vegetable side dish. Usually like corn or
all that stuff
whatever
put together is better than
and gravy and sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
And then you have pumpkin pie and whatever.
Okay.
That's your typical Thanksgiving dinner. And then, but I've had Thanksgiving with a lot of different subcultures that usually there's an overlay. So like my family, we're Italian. We would also have lasagna.
Of course.
We would have a first course of lasagna.
Yeah.
And then we would have a later course of the whole turkey thing. But also, like, my wife's family is Armenian, so they have, like, rice pilaf. And
oh, my God.
They have, like, the Armenian side dishes to go with it.
I know. I have to make papalo huancaína for any of the Peruvians in the chat because my wife's family is Peruvian, so that's a.
So you can do whatever you want. Some people have ham instead of turkey.
Yeah, that's true. Ham.
That's not uncommon.
Ham is good. Although I'm making a vegan roast anyway, so it's not going to be any of that anyway. But Polynesians have a big pig and 2 turkeys and taro. That's pretty good. Poi. I like poi.
What's it called? A turducken?
Turducken.
Some people do the turducken.
You could do a pig
turkey stuffed by a duck stuffed by a chicken.
Yeah, that's just like
it's just crazy.
That's crazy. We need an Italian version of that. We like a lasagna.
Well, we do the lasagna itself. In my family, my mother would make like these 2 giant dishes of lasagna with the little meatballs in them, or usually one with and one without for people that don't want the meatballs. And it's just awesome.
Yeah, here's a divide amongst I think Italian Americans. Do you guys put eggs in your lasagna?
Like we do not
hard-boiled
put
eggs.
No.
Yeah, that's apparently a thing with some families.
Yeah, and some people do like the vegetarian lasagna where you have like vegetables in that. We never did that.
Yeah,
we were just either just lasagna, the noodles, the cheese, the sauce, with or without some kind of meat.
Yeah.
Sometimes sausages, sometimes meatballs, but that's it.
Yeah.
That's lasagna.
Very Southern
Anything else
Italian.
is sacrilege.
That's true.
Yeah.
Check out the Northern Italian lasagna, though. That's pretty cool. A little bechamel, green spinach lasagna thing. Different thing.
It's different. It's
cool.
like, fine, you could like that. Yeah. It's just not lasagna.
It's just not lasagna.
But we also, my grandmother made, which I love, rice lasagna, which is basically the same thing, but rice instead of noodles. And you just mix everything together.
Interesting.
And it's great. The only thing is it doesn't really keep well because it gets dried out. So it's you got to have that the day you make it. Yeah. But it's awesome.
Vegetarian lasagna, yeah.
Just without the
vegetarian lasagna is souvlaki. Okay. Sure. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up, everybody. Thank you for enjoying us.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks
joining
for your
us
patience.
and enjoying the rants. Hopefully, they're fun. A little cathartic
we actually didn't do this last week because it was the Wednesday after the Tuesday. We're like, this is too raw. We need a week.
Yeah.
I think we needed 2 weeks, apparently.
Right. Well, luckily, everything kind of got busy anyway, so we had other things to do.
Yeah.
Now I'm craving Peruvian ceviche. That's what turned me into a pescatarian, the ceviche in Peru. So that is life-changing. Anyway, I will see y'all later, and so will Steve and Jay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you on Friday.
Let's hit that end music. And
thank you, Ian.
Thank you. Bye-bye.